What happened? I thought George was the man.
I ain't seen Jason this. I was.
Jason, yeah.
I went to church a couple of weeks ago, and preacher looked out. He said, "Ah, to see me? Was that the man?" I stood up and said, "I said, no,
I love it. I love it, man.
yeah, you got better than a man. You got a man pro tem."
I am looking for him. He's sitting right up front. All right. Madam Clerk, are you ready? There seems to be a...
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready.
Yeah, we are fine, Mr. Mayor. Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right.
All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Councilwoman Adoma? Here. Councilmember George Turner?
Here.
Councilmember Clanton?
Here.
Councilmember Rob Turner?
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Folks, we're going to have our invocation today by Dr. Gregory Sherman from Shekinah Glory Tabernacle. Doctor, come lead us up front, please.
May we all join hands if that's possible. Amen. I'd like to read a scripture real fast. Psalms 127 says, "Except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it." This is a key verse. "Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain." Amen. Amen. So let us all bow our heads in prayer. Father God, in Jesus' name, God, we thank you for this opportunity to come before your throne of grace. We believe in the power of God. Therefore, we believe in the power of prayer. So we thank you right now for who you are. We magnify you. We worship you for your knowledge, for your omniscience, and all that we think and do. And so we acknowledge you in this place. And we pray now for this council meeting that you would lead, guide, and direct. We pray for the city of Stonecrest that you will continue to bless this city to be a city set on a hill whose light cannot be hid. We pray for the council members for the spirit of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Your word says, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and to trust in the Lord with all our heart, and lean not to our own understanding. In all our ways acknowledge you, and you shall direct our path. So we're asking for wisdom tonight to make good decisions and sound judgment. We realize that we're just humans, and we need your spirit to lead us and to guide us. And so we ask that in this place, your presence will always be made known, and in your presence, we ask for the blessings of God, the favor of God, the guidance, the direction of God, and the unity of the Lord in this place, because we thank you that your word lets us know that in the place of unity, there are the commanded blessings. And so we ask for that. And we ask for wealth also. We ask for ideas. We ask for strategies. We ask for methods. We ask for ways to work together, to do things together. And we also ask for protection also. I pray for each council member for their health. I pray for protection for their families. I pray for them to live long lives, to be used by you in a great way. We thank you that you're blessing even now, and we thank you that because of your blessings, we can expect protection from the adversary, and Stonecrest will be an example to many cities in Georgia and in this nation. So we thank you now that we have invited your presence, and your blessing rests upon Stonecrest and upon the city council and our mayor as well. We thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Excellent, my brother. Excellent. All right. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Council, we're going to move to approval of the agenda. Councilman George Turner, what was your determination?
to add to the agenda the Arabia Mountain Heritage Area Steering Committee taking on a new task of Parks and Recreation.
All right, we're going to name that number, we'll number that number 9. And then for 1B for the mayor, I wanted to separate this. One is the purchase of the land, and we'll just call it 1B, would be the actual development of the street itself, determine what we'll talk about that. So let's put 1B as street determination. And in fact, even more appropriately, intersection determination.
Mayor, there's also the housing resolution. What is it? I've given everyone copies of that. Right, the Stonecrest Housing Authority.
Okay. All right, we will take that as number 10.
10, all right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
there are actually 2 resolutions for the Stonecrest Housing Authority.
Okay.
One to establish the authority,
All
one
right.
to establish the authority, and the other is to make appointments to the Housing Authority Board.
Okay. Let's see here. So we will take that 10A and 10B. Staff or council, anything further? Haven't seen none. I'll take a motion to approve the city council agenda.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move that we accept the city council meeting agenda for March 25th, 2019 with stated additions and changes.
All right. So
Second.
moved. And
Second,
properly
Mr. Mayor.
Any further discussion? All right. Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of the agenda has been made. All right, we move to the approval of the minutes. I think we have a date, maybe from a different, today is the actual 25th, so it would be
March 11th.
11th. Approval of the March 11, 2019 City Council meeting minutes. Give you a moment to peruse those. If we have no changes, I'll take a approval for the minutes.
One change.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, on page 4, just add to my comment there, that point of order was called 3 times. And then just add that my vote was in regards to the attorney, drawing up the directive made to the attorney.
Councilwoman could repeat that, please.
The additions, add the comments. Point of order was called 3 times on page 4. And my no vote was in regards to the directive to the attorney.
I have no idea what that piece is, changing it to the directed toward what attorney when.
Yeah, we didn't actually vote on a moratorium. We voted on a directive to the attorney to draw up papers according to the video. We did not vote on the moratorium. We voted on a directive to the attorney. And so clarification, and for accuracy and clarification, point of order was called to try to clarify that 3 times. And since there was much mass confusion, I'm respectfully asking the clerk to correct the records to reflect the real intention of my vote.
Now, I'm going to have to take exception to mass confusion because we didn't have any mass confusion. Like we were very clear as to where we were with regards to what we were doing. And as a matter of protocol, the chair calls for order. But I'm still not clear what you're stating to Attorney Denmark to be changed or added to the minutes. That's the part I'm not clear about.
For clarity, I believe I was told to watch the video, and I did. I watched it several times. And based on what I saw, there was never a vote for the moratorium.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, and hopefully I'm adding some clarity to this. I believe, and Councilwoman Adoma, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but reading from the minutes, and I'm thinking that this is the part that you're asking for the change. The minute says, Mayor Larry asks that the council vote on the substitute motion to allow the city attorney to prepare the moratorium documents. The motion passed by a vote of 5-1. Councilwoman Adoma opposed. Is that what you want changed?
I believe I was asking the clerk to add the clarity of the no vote. And the clarity would be, since we didn't vote on the moratorium, we were voting on a directive to the attorney. So then that means my no vote was on the directive to the attorney. And going back to the 3 occasions on the video where I mentioned point of order and even asked the attorney about parliamentarian rules, Robert's rules, the 10-minute uninterrupted rule. All of those comments indicates that there was some confusion, maybe not mass confusion, but it clearly indicates that there was confusion. So I just want the records to reflect the correction.
Well, first of all, Councilwoman, you don't get 10 uninterrupted minutes for Robert Rules of Orders. Let's start there. You don't get 10 uninterrupted minutes. Second, you're still asking us to change something that is not accurate. You're saying your no vote was against the city attorney. City attorney has no motion. Or the city attorney has no item. We're voting on a specific item.
Well, Mr. Mayor, you did say that the video don't lie. And I did watch the video. And if you, I want to go back to Robert's rules, if I may, respectfully. On August 7th, 2017, this council voted unanimously to use Robert's rules as a guide to keep the meetings in order. And if you look at that under section 25.5.1, and it's signed by you, Mr. Mayor, and it says that each individual, when we're discussing council business or zoning business, we can get up to 10 minutes. Now, Mr. Mayor, if you don't want to abide by that, I'm willing to change the rules, but that's the rule as of today.
So it says up to 10 minutes, and as the chair, I have the authority to give the amount of time that is rendered. Otherwise, we would be here till 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's not what we're set to do. So I'm going to ask for clarity a third time. What is it that you're trying to change that you think that's inaccurate with your vote? Because the vote we called for was for the city attorney to prepare the moratorium. Okay? And you voted no. So I'm not seeing where you want a correction for something that doesn't have to be corrected. Is there anybody else with a correction?
May I,
There is.
may I address
sir.
that? If there is an attempt to footnote something in the minutes, would that go in the previous minutes, or would that go in the records for tonight's meeting? Because you cannot change what is fact in a previous meeting. But if you wanted to footnote it in this meeting with some clarity, is that proper?
Sir, if the council determines that there was a clerical error and the minutes are inaccurate, then it certainly can be corrected to fix that.
That's not my question. The question is not about any inaccuracy or correction. It's just a matter of a footnote that I want to add to something that was said. Can that go? That will not go in the minutes. Any correction to the minutes, it would be a footnote in tonight's records.
Yes, sir. If someone's making a comment about the previous meeting or the previous minutes, that would be in tonight's meeting. However, if there were, what I said before, if there were a correction, it would be in those old minutes.
I just simply say, I think the minutes in that particular case, and I can only speak to the case that is written in the minutes, and what is written in the minutes I read earlier, and it ends with to allow substitute motion to allow the city attorney to prepare for moratorium documents. That is in the minutes. That is accurate. That is what we voted on, and the vote was 5-1. Now, if Councilwoman want to add to the minutes, if she want the minutes to reflect her intentions, I don't think that is what can be added to a minute. Minutes don't reflect your intentions. They reflect your actual votes. Now, as far as Robert Rules of Order, I don't know if this is the proper time to, to even speak on Robert's rules outside of the Councilwoman mentioning that she asked for on three different occasions that she asked for a point of order. But other than that, I will remain resolute in saying that as far as the mayor's the order for substitute motion, I would stand on that, and I don't think we should correct or to add anything to the minutes that it reflects anything that was inaccurately represented.
Have I heard from all council? Yes, sir.
I just have a question for the city attorney in reference to your position here. So you are also a parliamentarian, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So are we abiding by the rules of Robert's Rules of Order for our meetings? Are we abiding by that?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to comment on that. If we are abiding by Robert's rules, when point of order is called, the parliamentarian is supposed to either intervene or we're supposed to take a recess. And when point of order is called, it actually outlines what our parliamentarians should do. Respectfully, Mr. Attorney, when I called point of order 3 times, there was nothing done. And when I asked for not that I was going to use 10 minutes, I agree with the mayor. I think anyone up here talking 10 minutes uninterrupted is far too long. But I wasn't even able to get 2 minutes in, and there was no one intervening. So my question is, who's enforcing the rules? And if we're not going to enforce them, I suggest that we change them to do whatever it is we're practicing. But if we passed an ordinance on August 7th, 2017, I believe we should follow our own rules.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I think we need to be extraordinarily clear about what my role is and what my role is not. My role is not to enforce the rules. I mean, these are all of my fellow citizens. I live in the city of Stonecrest, but none of them elected me to do anything. You folks were elected. So I don't enforce the rules. Now, I, from time to time, give my opinion when I think that we're getting off track, or that in my role as parliamentarian, I will speak up. Sometimes I'll say, well, Mr. Mayor, there's a motion already on the floor, or something to that effect that kind of, I think, fulfills my role as parliamentarian. However, at the end of the day, I'm an advice giver, and you folks are the decision makers. And so I can give my advice and say whatever I want to say from this seat, but those matters are addressed to the chair. And then the chair in the full membership make the determinations. Now, if you feel that I didn't speak up when you made the point about a point of order, in that conversation, there was a heated exchange and a back and forth, and it resulted in the way it resulted, and there really wasn't much of an opportunity to get in the middle of that, and I don't know, I'd be inclined to do so anyway. But from my perspective, it is not my obligation to police the council. I work for you folks. You don't work for me, so I don't tell y'all what to do. I give y'all my advice, and I do that when I think it's appropriate, and I'll be my own counsel when I think it's appropriate.
Can we agree that you are the parliamentarian based on the ordinance that we passed?
Well, yes, ma'am, we can agree on that.
So when I mentioned point of order and there was nothing done, so I understand that you can't tell the council what to do. We are the governing body. We're the governing authority. However, as our legal counsel and as the parliamentarian, I would think that you would at least advise us when the rules are not being enforced.
Thank you. Now, as chair, I move that the minutes of the March 11, 2019 City Council meeting minutes be approved as read. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
I believe we missed the minutes from the 25th of February. Am I correct, or did we ever get those?
That was the 11th.
With changes.
They changed the.
You approved with changes.
It was approved. That was another. We opened the meeting by saying the meetings were not available, so we were going to dispense.
On February 11th or the 25th?
I believe it was February 25. You will check that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. All right. Those of you that are first timers and veterans to City Council meeting, one of the things I enjoy most, if not the most enjoyable that I have, is to recognize people that are doing hard work in the city of Stonecrest. And with that, I want to tell you about this particular person that I've known for a while. And I'm just so proud of how we're growing people here and what's happening here in the city of Stonecrest. So on March 20th, the city of Stonecrest, our very own Tiffany Adams, come forward, Miss Adams. Our alcohol licensing tech and court clerk. If you have ever had an opportunity to come and get a business license up here at the city of Stonecrest, you usually would see Miss Adams. Not only did she put this whole particular program together for us, she was recently promoted also as our court clerk. Let's give her a round of applause. Now, here's what's important about this. She had the first audit with the state of Georgia, GBI, regarding alcohol licenses for the city of Stonecrest. Want to go to jail? Mess up this alcohol thing, and I can promise you they'll stand in line, and they'll stand in line quick. So this is an important job. So the auditor, Ms. Corella Moulton, explained that the audit was passed with 100% compliance. How about that? For the licensing policies, processing, filings, the maintenance with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and issuance of the alcohol licenses within the city of Stonecrest. Huge accomplishment. A very first audit for a new city. The audits are conducted every 2 years. Let's give Ms. Adams another round of applause. Folks, we need to celebrate each other. Even more so, we need to learn how to celebrate each other. If we spent 10% of the energy clapping and smiling and making sure we were going in the right direction, I promise you, your life will be a lot easier, a lot easier. So we use the same amount of energy that we debate on things we don't agree or disagree with. Use that same energy in applauding people that work hard and to make your city, this is your city, the best that we can be on that end of it. Thank you very much. Mr. Palmer, come and introduce your big man from Florida.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to introduce our new staff members. As you know, we're growing our department, and it's an inauguration year for us in a sense. So we've brought on additional professionals to assist us as we're growing. And the two individuals that today's their first day, so we're going to overwhelm them by bringing them up in front of everybody. Because as you know, Stonecrest we get to work the very first day and we get running hard. So the first gentleman I'm going to introduce is a member of our community, as well as our new full-time individual that's going to coordinate all different type of customer service and horticulture and so forth and landscaping efforts, which is Mr. Sheldon Fleming. And if you can come up here, this is how fast we move. This is how fast we move. He already has a shirt. But that's because we did shop class at 8 o'clock in the morning and he just sewed it on himself. He did a great job. And then our second professional that we hired is going to be our operations manager. This young man actually grew up in this community. Him and his wife, his beautiful wife and intelligent wife, are raising two young men in this community. And he also served for several years with the Boys and Girls Club and was executive director over the Boys and Girls Club out of the Rodan Community Center. And that gentleman is Brandon Riley. If you can come up here, sir. And I just wanted to point out that as we go through the process of obtaining and acquiring our parks and building relationships with community partners, we're going to truly focus on accessibility, inclusion, and also cleanliness, safety to the facilities, and innovation, because we want to mirror the concept and the desires of the city and its citizens. And these gentlemen here are going to be the first wave of professionals helping us do that. And I appreciate both of them. Thank you very much.
All right, folks, next we have a real treat. And we're going to, one of the things that we notice here in Stonecrest is that, and you all that shop here, you all that do business here, you can appreciate this, is that we want our young people, we want our service folks, we want to grow a different culture of service here in the city of Stonecrest. I don't want to hear another time that somebody has to go out to Gwinnett to get a certain quality of service, or they got to cross over to East Point or Atlanta or something like. We can grow our best of Stonecrest right here. And from an economic development standpoint, this is absolutely the core, how you defined if people are going to come and shop with you, come and spend their money with you, come and live with you in your area. So I want to introduce to you all our Economic Development Director, Mrs. Sabrina Wright. She has been with us since day one, as a matter of fact, and she has a presentation she'd like to share with us. Ms. Wright?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the introduction. I want to introduce to you all an initiative that I've been talking about, and actually I shared the idea with Councilman Clanton, and so he and I have been strategizing a little bit about how to improve customer service and the experience that our residents and shoppers and those who dine here receive when they're at local Stonecrest establishments. Whether it's hotel, dining, or retail establishments in the city, we want to focus on the customer service experience that people receive here. That is an economic development initiative because when you receive great customer service, you're more inclined to return to that establishment and shop again. You're more inclined also to refer your friends there, to give great online reviews. So again, this is a Best of Stonecrest customer service initiative. The purpose of it is to improve the customer service experience experienced by all the shoppers in Stonecrest, whether it's at the local restaurants, the waitresses that you encounter, the hostess at the front who greets you, person who seats you, or whomever it is at that restaurant establishment, or at the hotels, the people who clean your room or anything. We want your customer service experience to be wonderful in Stonecrest. We've had some calls at the city about customer service experiences that people receive, and that's something that we took to heart. And in order to improve economic development overall in the city, number one, we have to make that customer service experience a priority. We have to make that a priority at the city level. So we are partnering with our local businesses to offer them some customer service training and to get that for their employees free of charge here at the City of Stonecrest. Our goals include improved customer service. Again, that will be offered through training. We have partnered with Discover the Cab to improve customer service here in the city. This will be offered free of charge to all the businesses, and particularly those businesses with customer-facing staff, like, again, your retail, dining, and hotel establishments. The goal, again, is to increase sales in those establishments, increase hotel stays, your heads in beds. I got that term from Sean DePalma. So to increase those heads in beds, our hotel stays, so that when people stay here during the holidays, when your family comes to visit, they're more inclined to stay in Stonecrest instead of dining elsewhere, shopping elsewhere, and staying in hotels elsewhere. And again, this will improve business growth because, first of all, that business may be looking to expand their business. And if they have a number of sales, if they have lots of sales, if their store in Stonecrest is one that is of a high revenue generator, they're going to want to expand here in Stonecrest. So we want them to open that second location or expand their existing location in Stonecrest, or for them to recommend Stonecrest to other establishments so that they can open their new business in Stonecrest. And through that growth and business expansion, that will revitalize our community and economic development. Our methodology includes different things, a myriad of things, including training. So I'll go back to that. Again, we've partnered with Discover the Cab. I approached them with this idea, and lo and behold, they offer customer service training free of charge. So they're going to train every business establishment in Stonecrest for customer service. They'll certify these businesses. This, again, is at no cost to either the city nor the staff who will be completing the training, nor that business as a whole. This is free of charge. We'll offer that training here at the City of Stonecrest, right here in this room, to other businesses. Our first strategy will be to target the hotel industry because a lot of them are working currently with Discover the Cab. And again, that's our tourism arm. So they have a vested interest in improving customer service here because they're marketing Stonecrest to the world nationally. Whoever goes to their website, they can find information about Stonecrest, particularly there. In addition to the free customer service, the certification, once those employees complete that training at Discover the Cab through Stonecrest, they'll receive their certification for customer service training through Discover the Cab. In addition to that, we'll have a City of Stonecrest certification for them as well. We'll have an online rating system so that the businesses that complete this training will, and I'm going to go through a little bit more of this in a few minutes, so I don't want to go into too much detail right now. But we'll offer an online rating system so that customers can rate their service at different retail establishments, hotels, again, and dining. And we'll promote these businesses that participate in the customer service training on our City of Stonecrest website, on our economic development page. We're going to also have marketing materials, whether that be through signage, T-shirts, hats, different things throughout the city to promote this Best of Stonecrest campaign. Again, this is more of a branding strategy, so we want to get the community buy-in and the business support as well. We're going to have a City of Stonecrest stakeholder luncheon. This is the Best of Stonecrest luncheon, and this is an invitation-only event. And this event will occur next month, and again, it's invitation only to businesses in the City of Stonecrest. And this is a top-down strategy. So what the goal is at this luncheon is to inform our business owners and our business community about this initiative, get their buy-in at the top so that those management and owners of those businesses can relay that message down to their employees. And once the owners and management staff, once they've bought into the concept, they're more likely to send their staff through the training so that we can get all of them certified through Discover the Cab as well as through City of Stonecrest. And that'll, permeate throughout the city. And then we're going to make this a competition. So we want to make this a competitive thing so that all the businesses in Stonecrest are competing to provide the best customer service. They're competing to be the best, and they want to be recognized on the city website. They want their business advertised free of charge, and that's something that we want to do in partnership with the business. So we want to make this a competitive thing so we can recognize them later. So again, the customer service training will be provided quarterly at the very least. It can also be provided more frequently as demand requires. Again, that training will be right here in the City of Stonecrest Council Chambers. Again, it's open to all businesses in the city. I've already explained the top-down strategy. And the goal is to have the majority of the customer-facing staff in that establishment or at that business complete the training. So we're not going to certify businesses who only send one manager or two staff people. Once the majority of the staff people there, customer-facing, staff people complete the training, then we'll certify them as the Best of Stonecrest certification, and then we'll market them on our website. So they'll get those benefits after the majority of their customer-facing staff has completed the training. For the online rating system, again, the goal there is to improve and increase the number of positive reviews we see online for our local establishments here, so that when people are looking online for businesses and where to shop, where are some great restaurants, where are some great hotels to stay in, when they're looking that information up online and they're looking at Stonecrest locations, they see great reviews there. They see a number of great positive reviews there, so that they're more inclined to come to Stonecrest, shop in Stonecrest, dine in Stonecrest, and continue that business here. The rating system will be based upon cleanliness, timeliness of your service, your health rating scores, and a number of different things. To create this online rating system, we want to do a hackathon and involve the school children in Stonecrest. And that's in partnership with our first public-private partnership partner, that's AEI Startup Factory. So we want to do a hackathon over there so that some of our students in the city can come and help us create an app for this online customer rating system for our establishments here in Stonecrest. And the goal with that app is to, again, get reviews and then have the establishment, whether it be the restaurant or whatever, respond to those reviews, and that'll improve their score if they get a negative review. So again, this is a branding campaign overall. It can extend beyond just the hotel and retail and dining establishments over to every other department in the city, whether it be parks. We want our parks to be the best, not in Stonecrest, but DeKalb County, the best in Georgia, the best in the state. So it's a branding campaign to help change the perception that people have in Stonecrest. I know a lot of times you hear a lot of negative complaints and bad reviews about things, so we want to change that perception. So we're actively and proactively working to change that, and this is our partnership with the businesses to address that need there. Again, of course, we need the business and community buy-in, and this will give our residents here a sense of pride in their community, so that once they buy into it and they're wearing the T-shirt, they're wearing the hat, and they start to believe Stonecrest is the best. I represent the best of Stonecrest, So we're going to have an overall full branding campaign. And again, in line with the competition and making this a competitive event for all of our businesses, we're going to have an end of the year celebration to recognize our best of Stonecrest businesses and then hopefully recognize the #1 business in Stonecrest in different categories. Oh, are there any questions?
Excellent, Ms. Wright. Excellent. Council.
In reference to this great program, because it sounds incredible, we're not just looking at hospitality type of businesses. We're looking at all businesses, you're saying, in the city of Stonecrest?
We are, and we're going to start primarily with our hotel, dining, and retail establishments.
Thank you.
Any more, Council?
Let me just, maybe you said it and I missed it. You said you're going to do a rating system and put it on our website. What other media might we carry the rating system?
Well, the rating system will be an app.
Right.
That's the rating system will be an online app that people can download to their device, whether it be their iPad, cell phones, or whatever. But we're going to promote the business that completes the customer service training on our city website. We'll promote them on our social media sites and whatever else that we're using to market, and that'll be a question more for our communications director, through all capacities that we have for promoting.
When I'm seeking services and I'm on the internet, you'll see the rating with the 3 stars, 4.5 stars, so forth and so on.
Right.
On a national scale, are we looking to go to that level?
Right, exactly. And so when you rate the business, not only our app will just be another method for rating that business.
Okay.
So if you're going online and you're rating through, what is it? It's Yelp or something like that.
This will help to support their
Exactly.
ratings.
Right.
Okay.
So when they're looking up these businesses, the Stonecrest establishments online, they're starting to see all these great positive reviews.
Okay.
One quick question. Thank you,
ma'am.
Ms. Wright. That was a very good overview. What are we doing to ensure that all the businesses in Stonecrest clearly understand that they're no longer in the city of Lithonia or unincorporated Lithonia? Will this branding campaign reach into the inventory of all the businesses that are here in Stonecrest to just welcome them to the city of Stonecrest?
I will be reaching out, and I've already started reaching out to a number of businesses in Stonecrest to tell them about this initiative. So I guess once I'm doing business retention visits frequently, weekly, at multiple establishments in the city. So if they're not aware, most of them are. I haven't run across very many that aren't. But, if I do, of course, I'm correcting them on that and letting them know that they are definitely in the city of Stonecrest.
What are we doing for businesses who, let me give an example. If a business is looking for a 50,000 square feet building, do we have inventory online where they can go and see what's available in Stonecrest if they're looking to do business with the city of Stonecrest?
We do. One of our economic development partners is Georgia Power. And so with Georgia Power, our partner there at Georgia Power has given us access to their, it's not Locate Georgia. Gosh, I can't think of the name of it right now. But it's Select Georgia. It's their website where you can find any criteria you're looking for, whether it be for vacant land, vacant buildings, or whatever. And if you type in Stonecrest, it goes directly to Stonecrest. And we have that link on our economic development page on the city website.
And just one final thought. How often is that updated? I'm just looking at it the other day. I just want to know, are we updating that like monthly, quarterly, weekly, to make sure that people know what's available here in the city if they're seeking some type of real estate?
That information is maintained by the state, so they update that. That's not maintained here at the city level. We just provide access to that website. We provide a link, a Stonecrest database of listings, available properties on our website. We provide a link to the state database.
Is
So
there
that
a
will
plan?
be.
Is
I'm
there
sorry?
a plan? Is there a plan to for the city to keep their own records for available inventory for business reasons?
Well, I'm doing that as well. However, I think the state level is more accurate because they have access to CoStar, which a lot of developers, brokers, retailers use to market their property. So most times it's on CoStar. Now, I have been working with local brokers in the city to get access to their available properties and available land in the city. And there's another link on the economic development webpage where you can look at other land on there. Now, it's probably duplicative. So it's probably on our city thing, as well as the link for Select Georgia that is maintained by the state and Georgia Power.
Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Thank you.
Very good. Next, we'll have our comprehensive plan update from Ms. Mary Darby. Ms. Darby, how you doing?
Wonderful.
All right.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and fellow city council members. Thank you for having me. I'm Mary Darby. I'm with the collaborative firm, and I am the director of planning, and I've also been the overseer of the comprehensive plan 2038. So I am excited because the plan was approved by DCA, Department of Community Affairs, Atlanta Regional Commission, on February the 14th. So that was a good Valentine's Day gift for me. And throughout my meetings, I just wanted to say that I've been at a few meetings in Northeast Georgia, and I've also been at meetings at MARTA, and they all talk about the plan, so I'm very, very excited to hear that. So my purpose of being here today is to request an extension of or to offer a remaining or revised schedule of our comprehensive plan deadline date. It has been determined that our February 2019 date that we had to reach the qualified local government status has been extended to May 2019. And because of that, we have a couple of minor changes that we would like to make to the comp plan. So we thought that we would take the opportunity to make those corrections to the comp plan and to present them back before the Planning Commission, City Council, and back to DCA and back to City Council for approval. Before you, I have actually presented to you a proposed schedule to do that. So on April the 9th, the collaborative firm would like to come back before the Planning Commission and actually highlight the minor changes that we are proposing. In your packet, you will actually see the proposed changes that we're making on the second page. And then at the Planning Commission meeting on April the 9th, we will be asking for a vote to come before City Council on April the 22nd to actually approve the revised plan and send it back to DCA ARC for review and approval. It is my strong desire or my strong belief that it will not take very long to actually have those minor changes made to the plan, because we're not changing any of the required elements to meet the minimum planning requirements. And so we are proposing that the plan could be at the latest adopted June 10th. But I put a pending date on that because I strongly believe that we will have a revised approved plan, draft plan, prior to that date.
Excellent. Yes, sir.
Ms. Darby, you stated the month of May. What exactly, did you say there's an extension in the month of May? If so, what's the date?
So I have been advised that the city they're still going through their internal government agreements, and those have the deadline date of May. And because of that, DCA has recalculated the deadline date. So when we would have to meet the deadline date for our qualified local government, which is also in May. So we have that time period from February. Instead of the February date, we actually have the May date.
Okay, so what day are we looking at in May? What date?
In May, I would have to consult that actual date in May with the attorney.
Okay, I have a question.
Sorry. Hey,
how you doing, Ms. Darby? It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you so much.
My question is, since we're not going to probably be approving this until May, what is your recommendation in regards to planning and zoning, land use, and other things? Because the plan is extremely comprehensive. So
it is.
Should we be referencing, in your opinion, and if you can't answer it, that's fine, but should we be referencing this comprehensive plan in the interim, even though it has not been officially approved by the council when we're making land use decisions?
Okay, so basically, because the plan has not been adopted by mayor and city council as of yet, we still have that opportunity to make minor changes to the plan and to send it back to DCA and have it come back before it is actually adopted. So the answer to your question is yes, we can make those minor changes.
So we can actually, if we were voting on a zoning application and we were trying to see if it was aligned with our comprehensive plan?
So in that regards, because this is actually still in draft form, it's not adopted yet, so you wouldn't be using this document to see if it has the compatibility with your existing zoning. So you have an existing, okay, so you have an existing comp plan now that was adopted through DeKalb County, and that's what you're using along with your zoning to show the compatibility. So what we're doing here is the City of Stonecrest is actually developing their own vision and their own comp plan, and that's what this comp plan 2038 is doing.
Okay, for clarity, so when we're voting on zoning decisions, I think my question is, even though this hasn't been approved, let me give an example. If we had a zoning meeting tonight, would you say we would be able to review this plan and look at it, even though it's not official? And if we can't, are you saying that this plan has no real value until we officially vote on it? I'm asking that question because that will help us understand. Should we be flipping the pages, looking at this?
I would say that that is correct because this plan is not adopted yet. So this is not the plan that you will look for compatibility with your existing zoning. And Nicole may want to elaborate on that, but because it's not, you would use what was adopted when the city was incorporated with DeKalb County. Okay, go ahead.
Councilmember Adama, since DCA has already approved the draft that's going forward and the change is minor, staff will be utilizing the document. Basically, the changes that are being made are not going to impact any of the language that's currently in the document. So staff would be utilizing the document going forward in reviewing projects coming forward, just because projects take a long time to come into play. And knowing this information of what they're going to have to do, it makes more sense for us to utilize the document at this time to ensure that once it's adopted, when their project goes through, they're following the proper process. So we would be using the document.
And also, thank you, Ms. Dozier. Also, if I had a copy of it here during a particular hearing, would I be in violation of anything if I'm glancing through it to see what is Stonecrest going to look like in 20 years, and does this align with the brand and the face of the future of Stonecrest?
Well, I can't say anything legally, but what I will tell you is if you utilize the document in discussing with individuals the future or the vision of the city, you would not be incorrect. The document is reflective of what the City of Stonecrest citizens, as well as yourselves, voted for in terms of what you want to see in the city. So the document is, of course, is always a guide for development in the city. And I think that you can, as well as any of the other members, can utilize the document as a guide proceeding if you do have discussions with the development community. Of course, we always recommend that should you have those discussions, you include staff with whoever you're meeting with, just to ensure proper communication of what's being reviewed.
And one last question. What is the plan, if any, to update the training for the staff now that we're going to have this? You just want to make sure that staff is very familiar with it. I know you guys have had a lot of training, but I know that there's probably some planned, and if so, I just wanted to know how soon will you be getting that training?
Ideally, since the staff is not terribly large, it's myself and the city planner, we have reviewed the document thoroughly throughout this process. So we are both primarily, we're familiar with what's in the document and what it says. So I don't think that there's going to be much training needed for staff. However, if mayor, council, or any of the planning commissions or boards would like to have some type of training as it relates to what it states in the particular document, we'll be more than happy to provide that to you all regarding the 2038 comprehensive plan.
Thank you, Ms. Dozier, and thank you, Ms. Darby.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Clerk, you
Yes,
have the
ma'am.
helm.
All right, Mayor, we have our first speaker, Suzanne Frick.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for letting me speak. My name is Suzanne Frick, and I live in the parks of Stonecrest. I know this is not on tonight's agenda, but it will be before the Council soon. The city has the opportunity to buy all the parks inside the city for $100 an acre now. In the future, the city will pay the market rate to DeKalb County. Current land values range from $15,000 to $30,000 an acre for undeveloped residential land in this area. Prices are higher in some locations. These prices will continue to grow as the city grows. With the acquisition of the parks, the millage goes to the city to operate and improve the parks. While we can debate how much deferred maintenance DeKalb has left the parks with, it is my opinion that if DeKalb continues to operate the parks, deferred maintenance will continue to grow worse. So buy now or buy later. Get 1 acre for the cost of 150 acres in the future. Please vote for the city to control and operate one of its best features, its beautiful parks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Frank.
All right, our next speaker. Our next speaker is Renee, it looks like Kale. Am I pronouncing that correct? Or Gail, C-A-I-L? Kale, all right.
Thank you, City Council, for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to say that I'm glad that the gas station is not going to come because that would have been the death of a community. So I also wanted to say, please allow the community to have some input into whatever goes there or whatever is going to be placed there so that our community can be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gill.
Virginia Kelly.
Evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for your time allowing me to speak. I'm here to speak about the cell phone tower at 3610 Evans Mill Road, Stonecrest, Georgia, 30038. And my husband and I, we are fairly new to the area. We've been living here about 17, 18 months in Stonecrest. And we were very surprised to see a cell phone tower in our backyard, almost literally. If I may, I brought some information for the mayor and the council members. Can I hand it to them? It's just folders.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I said give it all to me.
You're going to pass it down? That'll save me more time. If you look inside your folder, you'll see a couple of things just quickly. I want to talk about, we do have some petitions signed. That blue page that you see is some petitions that people want the cell phone tower to be removed. Also, you'll see another outline of research, empirical research that has been collected that I found online that proves that the cell phone tower is unhealthy and it is dangerous to children and to adults. If you go to page 2, and I'm reading from the Stonecrest cell phone tower, it's a little packet here, and it it says the findings are conclusive, safety is not assured. If you go to page 2, it's a myth too about the public are advised that all is fine. All we have lived in the age of AM, FM, VHS, satellite transmission without issues. However, the reality is that those closest to those towers will receive radiation that is 1 million times stronger than those transmissions. And then, I'm not going to read this whole thing because I only got 3 minutes. But if you go to page 6, and it's all in bold, the RF radiation being emitted by these cell towers that are placed near schools are having negative health effects on many students. Students are being diagnosed with mental problems, learning disabilities, and are being medicated when the real cause of their problems is the radiation the school itself is exposing them to. So I wanted to give you this information for your research and for your for you to look at. And lastly, I wanted to say that there's some information in the back about how to contact us, me and my husband, about the Stonecrest cell phone tower. This is a community project. It's not about me and my husband. It's about the whole entire Stonecrest being healthy and safe. And I did place a bookmark in there for everybody to use. And thanking you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
Our next speaker is Philip Kelly. What the devil? I get this thing to stop.
What's the timer?
Won't stop. We got a problem here. It's not reacting.
Thank you, City Council, for your time, for the ability to speak, and thank you for having us. Wanted my wife to go first because she's a much better speaker than I am, a lot more organized. I wanted to explain something about why I'm so passionate about this issue of this cell tower and its placement in this community. The reason why is because day after day after day, I have the privilege to go to the Georgia Proton Therapy Treatment Center and help people who are oftentimes dying from cancer, a horrible disease, in part caused by exposure to risks like this one. I'm not going to say that cell towers give people cancer, but I am going to say that it is a risk. And in this instance, I feel that this is an unnecessary risk that is placed too close to a school and a playground and a church and a couple of subdivisions. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I just finished the day watching a bunch of people come in and out of a facility getting treated for cancer. I get to see it every day, and I'm tired of it. If we can reduce the risk to this community, if we can reduce the risk to these children that are playing on this playground at this church, we need to do that. We need to reduce that risk. It's just like when you get in your car. You don't tell your kids, hey, don't put your seatbelt on. You tell them to put their seatbelt on. Not because you plan to have a car wreck, but because in the event that there is a car wreck, they will be protected. And that is why this is a bad idea. It's not just against the zoning code. The zoning code was written this way to prevent this, to mitigate risks to the community like this risk. And that's why I stand in opposition to this cell tower, and why I request that this cell tower be removed and moved to a different location that's more appropriate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
Our next speaker, Faye Cofield.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just served the city acting assistant, whatever he is, city manager, and your city clerk with an open records request about what has gone on with these trees that I've asked over 6 times for you guys to investigate. I filled out a form. It's not funny, Mr. Clanton. It really isn't. I filled out a formal code enforcement complaint. I cited the code that it's in violation of. I provided you with the ruling from DeKalb County that said that the man had cut down the trees illegally and they had issued a stop work order. I realize now that that stop work order is still in effect because it was never lifted. Now, it might seem funny to some of you, but it's not funny to me because when I bought my house, I wanted a private backyard. I wanted a wooded backyard. I did not want a light shining in the back of my house all night long. But anyway, it's an open records request. You've got 3 days to respond, counting today. If it's not responded to, then I go to the Attorney General. If you think I'm playing, then you have to realize I'm also one of the signers on the suit against DeKalb County, which has just been certified to go to the Supreme Court. I do not play about this. I do not have permanent political friends. I have permanent political issues, and this is one of them. Second of all, I need to know, do we have a hold harmless agreement with CH2M and Jacobs Engineering? Because it was Jacobs Engineering and CH2M's employees who issued the permit for this cell tower. And this has grown into a lot of mess with a lot of legal fees. So if we have a hold harmless agreement, I think that they should be the ones that are helping or assisting or paying all of the legal fees and getting this straightened out, because I went to public school, and the zoning on this was so clear. Even me from my little inner city public school knows that that zoning is only in effect for the summer, and it's only in effect with regard to Raggedy Ann and Andy Daycare. So that's the second thing. Third, I'm a little bit tired of this in-group fighting that's going on here. I was out of town when all this mess jumped off about who voted for what and who didn't vote for it. I was told that there had been a vote on the moratorium and that one of you, I'm not going to call any names, had voted against it. In my line of work, I have to be exact. So I went and I looked, and I found out there never was a vote. Even though the newspaper said it was, there never was a vote on a moratorium. It was a vote to authorize the city attorney to begin to write a moratorium, which was to be brought back to you guys to be voted on. That was all it was. But yet and still, all this mess has jumped. I'm sorry you find it funny, Mr. Clanton, because I don't find it funny. This is our neighborhood. This is our community. This is where we live and work and pay taxes and vote.
So if you address me, you bring me out to speak. Now, I have a right to listen and to hear what you all say. When I smile, because I'm obviously not laughing out loud, when I smile, it may be about any number of things. And I wish that, as the mayor said earlier, what we should be doing now is trying to figure out a way to work positively together. And that's all I ever done here, and that's all I will ever do. I don't find anything that you said funny. I do find everything you said quite serious. But what I do find somewhat concerning to me is this notion that is being seeded that for some reason our city staff, management, is not capable of doing their jobs, and I wholeheartedly disagree with that. And and even if they are, and this is the forum where we bring citizens up in front of us to tell us about what they feel. We listen very well. As you know, things are recorded. So no, I don't think anything you said was funny. Me and you spoke directly about the trees that was that you were telling us about. You told me that a member of our staff came out and looked at those trees, and you told me that you just simply didn't agree with what they said, that they told you information that you felt was not correct. And so I think to say that we are not taking this sincerely, that's not where I'm at. And I appreciate you coming forth. You are a truly engaged citizen. You come forth every week. I have a saying, and some of my constituents know this saying, and that saying is simple. Everybody's not qualified to complain, and that's a fact. And what makes you not qualified is when you don't know the background about the issue that you're complaining about. I do not find that to be you. So I appreciate everything you do, and I appreciate you attending faithfully all our city council meetings.
Okay, like I said, I asked you guys 6 times to handle it.
Mr. City Attorney, point of information. I was informed that we don't interact with public commenters. Is that rule? Has that rule changed?
So
I'm asking the attorney for clarification.
Are you telling me that there's a?
I was told that we don't interact, we don't address. Now I know the mayor, the executive branch, may use executive powers to do it, but I was told that public commenters get to have their voices heard, but that we don't get to have dialogue with them. So can you clarify that we can, from now on, interact with public commenters?
No, ma'am, I cannot. You said you were told. I don't. If you're telling me that there's an ordinance or a resolution out there that says that, then that would be one thing. But I don't understand the source of information.
Point of information. Can the council have dialogue with public commenters individually?
There may be a rule amongst the council in that regard, but I'm not aware of any ordinance or resolution or charter provision that speaks to that.
So I'm able to do that tonight?
I can't give you permission to do that, man. I'm not the chair of the council, so it's not for me to say what you can and cannot do.
Would you like for me to address that, Councilwoman?
It's okay, Mr. Mayor. He answered my question.
I'll address this for myself. So this is how it works. I have said since day one when we were incorporated as a city, this is not DeKalb County. You don't get to come up here and just say anything you want to say, and then poof, it just goes away. If you call a council person's name, or if they feel as though they need to respond to an issue in your public comments, they may do so. Every day, every week, I have said this. So for whatever rights you think you have as a citizen, which you do have the right, these are citizens sitting up here too. So if it's on them if they decide to respond, because this is, once again, this is not the DeKalb County Commission delegation where you come up, and I attended it for 20 years, and then add on another 15 years with Stonecrest City Council meeting, where folks just come up and berate and drag folks down to the ground, and they never get a chance to say anything, and they just hold it in. This is Sparta. Excuse me. This is Stonecrest. Things are a little different, and we allow this respectfully. And there's nothing wrong with being respectful with regards to if you want to rebut or say something with regards to how things work. So having said that, look how respectful Councilman Clanton was. That is respectful. And he gave what he thought was his answer to a question or his piece of it. So I just said that to say there is no ordinance, there is no resolution saying that a council person cannot have rebuttal with regards to, particularly if their name is called. I think that's the fair thing to do. Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mayor. We have one final comment. Louise Alexander.
Hello, Council and Mayor. How are you this evening?
Yes, ma'am.
My concern is about the paving of the streets with quality materials. What type of materials will you be using to pave the streets? Asphalt is the most common and the cheapest material for paving streets. In Chestnut Lake, we have to drive around holes that have been repaired multiple times a year. However, it would be cost effective to have quality materials to pave the streets than to have to keep paving them every other year. Besides, it would save the city and the taxpayers a lot of money. According to a study done in the sample test roads in Austin, Texas, they saved $17 million over a period of years. Thinner pavements cost less, ride smoother, and are expected to have a longer lifespan. I also suggest that you look at the asphalt alternatives. Yes, it will cost more, but by using better quality materials and putting an overlay, you can extend the lifespan of the roads. I am certain that you have gotten a good contractor. I hope that they do not get bad material, because if that happens, then we're going to be doing the roads over too many times. Has any member of the council taken the time to research the type of materials used to pave the streets? If not, please look at the EPA website, which is epa.gov. Do your own research before you spend tax dollars, because it is important that our tax dollars are used wisely. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. I appreciate it.
That's the final public comment.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're going to move into the public hearing sector of our city council meeting. We'll start with number 1.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to present RZ 19-003. The address is 2374 Cove Lake Road. This item was heard by the Planning Commission on February 5th. The applicant was requesting to rezone their property from residential to commercial C1 in order to establish a mini warehouse facility, a mini storage, self-storage facility. The Planning Commission recommended denial of this particular application. So I'm here if you have any additional questions regarding this particular item. Thank you.
All right. We move for open the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move that we open the floor for public hearing of RZ 19002, rezoning from MR1 medium density residential to C1 local commercial at 2374 Cove Lake Road for construction of self-storage facility.
Second.
All right, properly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is now open. Ms. Dozier, you want those in favor or those against first? All right. We'll take for those that are in favor of RZ 19-002.
Hello, Mayor, Council.
Hello,
I'm
sir.
Mark Walton with Patrick and Associates. We do surveying and engineering just over in Conyers. I'm here on behalf of Mr. David Miles, who is the applicant. And at the time that he filed the application, he just had the property under contract. Since then, he has purchased the property, and it's his intent to develop it either as self-storage or possibly as townhomes, which it's currently zoned for. He has completed a facility in Conyers, which is different than most self-storage facilities. It has a stone wall around it and some architectural facades around it to break it up. And that's basically what he intends to do here in Stonecrest, and feels that the stone facade fits in with the Stonecrest theme. At the meeting of the Planning Commission, hopefully you all have a copy of the little layout. But at the meeting of the Planning Commission, a lot of the neighbors were concerned about it. And one of the items that they kept citing was the increase in crime at self-storage facilities. I did a few minutes research on the internet and basically found that there were articles to that effect, and then there were rebuttals, I guess, from the industry, stating that it's typical of reporting where below average facilities are chosen as examples to represent the whole market. And that was the CEO of the Parham Group, which I guess is a large self-storage facility franchise. Mr. Miles is an independent. He will have an operator on site. And basically, he owns several in Augusta, the one in Conyers, and he's looking to stay here in the Stonecrest East Metro area. And another of the concerns was traffic. The traffic generated by the self-storage facility will be significantly less than if it's developed as a multifamily or townhomes. And the pollen's starting to get to my throat. At this particular time, I will save any time for rebuttal. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Thank you, sir.
There's 7 minutes and 31 seconds left.
We're good. I will take those that are speaking in opposition.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Stonecrest wants to be a work, live, play community. I don't hear the word self-storage in that. We want development, certainly. But for heaven's sake, apparently we have the choice of townhomes here or self-storage. And to get the self-storage, it must be enabled by U5. And it will be on you, of course, if you enable it. And it may be a rational thing to do from your perspective. If so, I'm on Mars or somewhere, because we do not need low rent development of any type. A person has the right to do with his property what the current zoning says he or she can do. I would not argue against that, and I would defend that person's right. But they don't have the right to do this unless you all tonight give it to them, and I ask you not to.
All right, there's 8 minutes and 56 seconds left.
Mr. Mayor, council members, there's a reason why it was rejected
by the staff concerning this storage unit. We have 9 storage units within a half-mile radius of Cove Lake Road. So why would we need another storage facility? On Covington Highway, from here, from Stonecrest, from Cove Lake to Evans Mill, there are 6 zoning issues that are commercial. He could put one at any one of those commercial issues, and it's already in existence. Why would you need to change a residential to another commercial issue when it's not necessary? It does not improve the quality of our land. It does not improve the quality of our homes. All it does is distract and is a destructive situation, and it does not improve anything in our community. Thank you very much.
7 minutes and 52 seconds.
I can only ditto what the 2 gentlemen said. I have been a long time resident here at Stonecrest, and I prefer green space rather than having a storage area put up there. And I sort of thought it was sort of settled because you gentlemen and ladies had already denied the gentleman's request as far as putting up a storage unit. Thank you.
7 minutes and 26 seconds.
Good evening, Mayor and council people. My name is Cleopatra Warren. I'm a resident of the Cove Lake subdivision. I moved there because it was residential. And we're currently zoned the area that he purchased for residential. And being a homeowner, I prefer to see residents come up around me. We don't need in his storage facility, he wants to put a stone wall straight down our street. So when you come out of your house, you look at a stone wall. And then he's going to put a tower clock that'll look like a prison clock. He said that he'll be able to see Stone Mountain from there. So that means he can look in our bedroom windows, okay? And you know, it's really not funny. I have a petition here with over 100 and some signatures. We only have 100 and some units there. So the majority of the residents there do not want it there. And Stonecrest being new, we hope that you will understand that as residents and taxpayers that you take our voices seriously, because we're very serious about it. And if a storage unit go there, then you're going to have vacant homes. Or either they'll be sold. Because we didn't purchase that for that reason. So we just ask that you be, just look at it as if you're a family member or you were living there. And they were talking about putting up a storage facility and put a stone wall down the middle of your street and use the only way in and out to bring in trucks for a storage facility. And those people are not even vested to be there. They're strangers. So they can just stroll in with their break in, fill up their trucks, and go put it in the storage unit. So I just hope that you will pray about it and consider it. Thank you.
Five minutes and 34 seconds.
Hi, my name is Trudy Morgan, and I'm a property owner in the Cove Lake subdivision. My grandmother actually lives in the first house as you go into the subdivision. There's one way in and there's one way out. It's a very small subdivision, and as stated earlier, they want to build a large wall that looks like a prison, she would look out her window, and that's what she would look at. Not to mention that there would be traffic for strangers coming into the subdivision to get to the storage facility, because you have to go into the subdivision to get into the storage facility. Instead of going off of Covington Highway, you actually have to go into the subdivision. So the staff recommended against it, the Planning Commission recommended against it, and I'm asking you guys to recommend against it because we don't want that in our neighborhood. They mentioned that they want to put a big clock tower like in Conyers. If you've ever seen the one off of 124, it's extremely tall. It would be the tallest thing in Stonecrest aside from the medical center. So I ask you to vote no. Thank you.
4 minutes and 36 seconds.
I really want to look out for the city of Stonecrest, for our people to have excellent economic development. And these storage units are not good economic development. So I'm saying to you, since it looks nice in Conyers, maybe he can just add this one to Conyers. And that'll be the end of it. Thank you.
4 minutes and 14 seconds.
My name is Peaches Moss. I'm also a resident of Cove Lake subdivision. We've had this conversation. We've met with the gentleman. We've already indicated our displeasure, not only with the clock tower, with the entrance on to and in through Cove Lake itself. We do only have one way in, one way out. There's one traffic light. There's going to be some additional traffic changes done by the city. There's going to be some medians put in. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to impede our ability to get in and out. There are a lot of other commercial areas already available, and so we're asking you to vote no, just like the Planning Committee did. Thank you.
Three minutes and 33 seconds.
Good evening. My name is Shavita Pascal, and I am also a resident of Cove Lake community. And I've been there about 16 years. My house is on the back side of the Covington Highway is back of my house. And I deal with enough traffic, listening to all the cars going up and down the street. Just to add a storage unit, it's going to be even more. And if you zone it as commercial, then what we're going to be looking for to come next. So I ask you guys, please do not zone this as commercial, because it's a very quiet community, and we really like it that way. Thank you.
Two minutes and 40 seconds. Ooh.
Going once.
So I understand there's a little time left. I'm here for Mr. David Miles. I run his property. Well, he had 7 minutes of rebuttal left, right?
Right, but you don't do it this way.
Okay, okay.
So, folks, I can tell him.
Thank you.
I can tell him. No worries. So in this instant, if there's not anyone else that's coming for, coming against, then I'm going to open it back up for the gentleman.
Perfect.
And then you can go from there.
I'll do that.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Almost. Almost. No worries.
what? 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Minutes, 40 seconds. Going twice. Okay, that's it.
Since nobody else is going to take it, I'll take it. We need to build a city we're trying to build a city that is progressive and that is a place where people want to live, work, play, and really come to and visit. Storage centers, I heard him say that storage centers don't do crime. That's not true. As all of you know, I'm a retired police sergeant, so I know about crime, and storage centers do have crime. We've heard about them breaking into them up in Buckhead. We've heard them breaking into them down on the south side. People break into them. You have people that actually live in storage centers. The one over, I think it was Austin Drive, that caught on fire. That fire was started by somebody living in a storage center. Now, this property is zoned or whatever for residential. There is plenty of commercial land available where this might be a little bit better suited. But we've got to stop changing residential land to commercial land when there's no need for it. And in this case, there's no need for it. The threat to put apartments there, they can put apartments there. They can put townhouses there. But I think the people there they have a better control of the area. If townhouses get out of hand, DeKalb County can do it. If housing gets out of hand, DeKalb County PD can handle it. But this commercial thing, the people that come there, they usually don't live in the area. They don't work in the area, and the people that run them have no attachment to the community.
It's less than a minute and 24 seconds. I don't know if that's enough time for another speaker.
Go once. Going twice. Closed. All right. We will move back to the gentleman that he has 7 minutes and 24 seconds.
Let me set it for that. All right. I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, Council, thank you. All the citizens, thank you for the input. Again, I'm Mark Walton. Everyone there, there was a preliminary meeting out there, and according to the owner, things were a lot more hospitable at the time. We respect everybody's opinion. We do request that you do consider our application. Roy is the manager for the Conyers facility, and I'm going to turn it over to him to talk more about the specifics. Okay. Thank you all.
Right.
6 minutes, 48 seconds. All right.
All right, Mr. Mayor and council members, thanks for the time to address you tonight. I'm actually here to tell you that I'm pretty sure that you've already made your mind up on what you're going to decide on what we can do on this property. So, Mr. Miles wanted me to come up tonight, maybe speak to the citizens of Cove Lake. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your time coming here tonight. And whatever decision you guys make, David Miles wanted me to let you know that he plans on building on the property, whether it's going to be the storage facility or whether it's going to be townhouses. It's going to be one or the other. Your guys are ready to make that decision. So when you make that decision tonight, if you say we can't build the storage facility, we're going to start knocking down trees and we're going to get a plat done and we're going to build townhomes there. So we're going to be a good neighbor to these guys. We look forward to being in the neighborhood. We probably won't live in the neighborhood, but we will be here, and we look to build nice, beautiful townhomes. And thank you for your time.
Sure thing.
And thank you for all the great citizens behind me, too.
Thank you, sir.
5 minutes and 52 seconds.
Going once. Going twice. Closed. I will take a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
Move to close public hearing on item number 1, RZ 19022.
Second.
Probably moved in second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is closed. Ms. Dozier?
Once again, it was recommended for denial. At this point, you would just take a vote on the item.
Okay. Well, as we sit,
Yes,
and I will take a motion from council.
Mr. Mayor, may I
Yes, sir.
speak?
Yes, sir.
For a moment, yes,
Sorry.
thank you. That's a beautiful community, Cove Lake. It really is, and it's in my district. So I've been out there several times to meet with the people in the homeowner associations, and I just don't see where a storage facility will affect the enhancement of the quality of life there, or the safety, or even any type of thing, property value. So I'm definitely that storage facility will not work with that area, or should be in that area. So that's how I feel about this situation.
Okay. Is there a motion on the floor, sir? Your district.
Good. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we reject the storage facility for the Cove Lake community.
I second it.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yes, sir.
The motion is to reject the storage facility? I
Okay.
think the motion should not be that.
I'm sorry. The motion should
Has
be
to do with the zoning.
Oh, I'm sorry, to change the zoning.
Right.
Okay, I
It's a
apologize.
denial of the rezoning.
Let me be
request.
specific then.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I make a motion that we deny the rezoning of the RZ 1902 MRI medium density residential to C1 local commercial 2374 Cove Lake Road for construction of a self-storage facility.
A
Is
second.
that it?
Yes.
All right.
Denying the zoning.
Yes.
Properly moved and properly second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Zoning denied.
Good evening again. I am here to present TMOD 19-0002. This is the child care and personal care home modification. This would be the second read. Based on the initial first read, staff has modified the staff report to include what the process would be upon approving this particular modification. Councilmember Clanton did have some question as to what the procedure would be in terms of what would happen next. And in our staff report, we did outline the fact that we would be sending notices to those that are currently registered with the state as a personal care child care home facility and letting them know that Stonecrest has now adopted new regulations. We would enforce, or we would allow them 45 days to come in and apply for a business license for the balance of 2019 and giving them an 8-month leeway to come into compliance with the new regulations, which we'd put into play on 2020 for them to come into compliance. So we did outline the process here in your staff reports. We just wanted to make it clear that we do have a process in play. We will be sending out appropriate notifications to child care providers and personal care homes. And at this point, staff is requesting approval for these modifications. I'm here if you have any questions.
Council. So this is second read only? All right. Okay. Seeing none? Thank you. All right. Okay, we'll go to old business.
Nope. Second read.
Second read? Yeah, we didn't vote second read. I apologize. I'll take a motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Sir.
Move for approval of TMOD 190002, amendments to Chapter 27, Article 19, regarding child and personal care facilities.
All right. Second. Properly moved in second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Can I have that voter
here for a
who
second read.
opposed?
Aye.
Clanton.
Yes, no hearing for a second read. All right, let's get to the dance. Cell tower moratorium.
Mr. Mayor, I was asked to prepare a moratorium as it relates to the construction of new cell towers within the city of Stonecrest. As directed, I have prepared the moratorium. However, I sent Mr. Wright a legal opinion that I believe the council received as it relates to our ability under federal law to impose a moratorium on cell towers. As you know, this area has been preempted by federal law. The federal government, through the FCC, has primary regulatory authority over cell tower facilities in the United States. And Congress has given a mandate as relates to these cell towers, among other things, in the Telecommunications Act of 1996. We are not the first community that has contemplated a moratorium on cell towers. Every local government across the country has thought about it from time to time. But the FCC has said in a clear voice in a series of opinions in 2014 and 2018 that under the Telecommunications Act of 1996, that any attempt to enact a moratorium would violate that federal statute. and it would not be effective. And not only that, and this is not one of these issues that's in a gray area. The FCC has said in a very, very clear voice in a series of decisions that this is the case, and this FCC ruling has been upheld time and time again by the federal courts, such that if a city like the city of Stonecrest attempted to pass a moratorium, the carrier would immediately go to federal court. The moratorium would be struck down, and not only would we would not be able to enforce the moratorium, they would be entitled to get the cell tower permit without any further consideration. So it would not be a case where they would strike down the moratorium, and then we'd have to actually consider the application. The court would strike down the moratorium, and they would automatically get the permit for the tower. So it would be counterproductive to all of our goals. It's not an area that's up for debate, or and I kind of spelled it all out in my written legal opinion to the council, and so for that reason, it is my recommendation that the council not enact a moratorium. Nonetheless, I prepared one to the extent you go against my advice and want to impose the moratorium, but I've given you my opinion both in writing and here this evening.
Let me get some clarity, Mr. City Attorney. So, if we impose a moratorium, against your strong advice, of course, we could turn around and dig a much larger hole for the folks that actually apply next, as in we lose, and then we would have no stance at all if they wanted to put one up.
That's exactly right, sir. And sometimes these cell tower owners actually look for communities who've passed the moratorium because they see that as an opportunity. Their eyes light up, or they passed the moratorium, which means all we have to do is file a lawsuit, and the moratorium will get struck, and we can put whatever cell tower we want to put up, and there will be absolutely no local review. So we don't even get a chance to consider it. The federal court would order the permit be granted. And so they actually see that as an opportunity.
Floor is open for counsel.
Attorney Denmark, so are you saying that we have no control over where these infrastructures are placed in our community?
No, ma'am. I'm saying that a moratorium runs afoul of federal law. Now, if we do not enact a moratorium, and I said this in my memo, it's my recommendation that we revise and strengthen our telecommunications ordinance such that we can exercise all of the control that we are able to within this preempted federal landscape.
Okay, a few months back, I submitted to you a model ordinance that was prepared by the National League of Cities, and also I think it's on GMA's website for best practice. And one of the things that a lot of cities have done in the past, recently, since last October, was use that as a guide to create stricter ordinances and policies so that we would have more local control over what comes into our community. Now, we were in one of those cities who did that, but many cities across the United States joined forces with the National League of Cities, and they used that model ordinance to create those ordinances and those policies. So I'm of the opinion that if we don't create our own policies and ordinances, then what you're saying is absolutely right. However, local control means that if we have our own ordinances, which right now we don't have a strict ordinance or a strict policy, and I'm of the opinion that if we just, what is your recommendation that we do? And then number two, we have a cell phone tower here in the city of Stonecrest that is based on the information I've received, it's zoned incorrect. It's not zoned properly. And I think the constituents and the residents are saying that if we're going to have those cell phone towers, the comprehensive plan on pages 78 through maybe 82. It talks about where the recommendation is 3 locations in the city of Stonecrest where we welcome cell phone towers. That's what they recommend. And frankly, if we put the cell phone towers, if we accept the recommendation of the comprehensive plan, then those 3 locations are available for cell phone towers. In addition to that, if we place the cell phone towers appropriately, and if we pass a stricter ordinance or a policy or many policies, then the city of Stonecrest would be eligible for what they call broadband certification, because we're not anti-connectivity, we're not anti-technology, anti-innovation. What we're saying is they need to be properly zoned, and we live here, and we have the right to a high quality of life. My third comment would be a question maybe to Mr. Wayne Wright here. The cell tower on 3610 Evans Mill Road. Have the city of Stonecrest received any franchise fees, and if so, when did they receive them? And when were they deposited for the one at 3610 Evans Mill Road?
I have absolutely no idea. I can find out if there's been any payments, but franchise payments typically come in monthly, quarterly, or annually from the utility companies that use the city's right-of-ways. I don't believe cell towers actually pay franchise fees.
If you could, thank you, Mr. Wright. And you and I have had great conversations since you've been filling in. So if you could just, take a look at that and let me know if any franchise fees over the amount of $500,000 have come into the city of Stonecrest for cell phone towers. So I want to go back to, I'm very, very concerned about not cell phone towers, but about where they are placed in the city of Stonecrest. The biggest problem that I have, and Madam Clerk, please put this in the record, is that property values, if you research the property values, and I'm going to address it not from a health perspective, not that that's not important, because it's been eloquently stated, but I'm going to address it from property values. Historically, and there are many, many studies out there that show, even HUD said, if told their appraisers, if you appraise a property that is within a certain district from the cell phone tower, then you are to appraise that property 10 to 20% below market rate. Now, I'm a homeowner, and my house have suffered enough. So if that is the case, then I am asking the council to do additional research to find out what are the negative consequences, because I'd rather not have a stronger cell phone signal and have my property value continue to rise or be competitive in case I wanted to sell my home. And property values does impact us. We do live in a county, so if our home values are sinking because of cell phone towers, that's a big, big issue. So I want to go back to my original request that came in months ago, is how do we then, if it's a federal law, we can't do a moratorium. I respect the laws. If we can't do a moratorium, what can we do? How soon can we implement a stricter policy and a stricter ordinance so that my property value would not be decreased as a result of this? We do have locations. I welcome cell phone towers. We do have locations where they can be, but we cannot break the law and put them somewhere just for convenience. If they're not supposed to be there, then we need to move them and put them where they need to go.
Councilman, what I would say is that I fully agree with you that my recommendation is that we revise and strengthen our ordinance such that we can take full advantage of all the regulatory control, the limited regulatory control that we're allowed in this federal space. Because, and I may have mentioned this at a previous council meeting, there are several large municipalities that are right now engaged in a bitter fight with the FCC at the federal appellate court level because the FCC has determined that local regulations are just an impediment to the rollout of the 5G technology and kind of the federal mandate from Congress to spread these telecommunications facilities far and wide. And so they take a very dim view of local control. And I know we've heard conversation this evening about the negative health consequences of cell towers, but in the Federal Telecommunications Act, that's not a permissible basis for local government regulation. So long as they meet the federal standards in terms of their emission of radiation, they're fine. And if local communities believe that they have detrimental health consequences, that could not be a legitimate basis for denying them. So, here's my ultimate point. I recommend that we strengthen our ordinance and take advantage of all of the regulatory power that we can in this preempted federal space and exercise as much local control as we can. And once I'm directed by the council to prepare an ordinance along those lines, I'll bring one back to you.
Well, I agree. You and I agree on that. But here's my problem. The cell phone tower in District 5 that's located at 3610 Evans Mill Road, it's in a residential area, and it is zoned inaccurate. So what are we going to do? Because there are cell phone towers going up all over the state of Georgia, but they are going up in the appropriate locations, from Sandy Springs to Rome, Georgia, wherever. They're going up in appropriate areas. We have not yet addressed the issue of the zoning in District 5 at Evans Mill. The zoning, it is zoned for a child care center, and it's only zoned for 20 days out of the year during the summer months when the children are on the playground. So if that is the case, the cell phone tower can be there, but you got to uproot it after the 20 days in the summer. So how do we plan to handle that? And my other question is and I do understand, I've worked for AT&T, so I'm very familiar with the FCC rules. The FCC rules, even their rules, say that there should be much community outreach and notification. That is in the FCC rules. We had no notification. There was no community outreach. And even in the ad that was ran, now Stonecrest did not run the ad. We did nothing. The ad that was ran by Vertical Bridge in Champion. So we didn't even run the ad as a courtesy to the city or to the district in our legal organ. We did no outreach, no notification. FCC even says that there should be notification.
Can
I'm done, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I just had that same question. We brought it up a couple of meetings ago about the zoning. I know that's not a part of this particular one, but item, but it's going to have to be addressed as it relates to the property in question.
Mr. Turner, Mr. Doma, the staff initially looked at the zoning. The information as relates to the conditional zoning for daycare is not in the minutes from the zoning decision, nor is it anywhere else in the record. It's in the application from the applicant in terms of what that proposed use is. And I believe that, I don't know whether you received my legal opinion on that. I looked at the issue and I addressed two possible areas where it may have been problematic in terms of the conditional zoning and the failure to post a sign. And at the end of the day, I'm in agreement with the staff that initially looked at it, that the zoning, the standards that set forth in state law in terms of when a conditional zoning is in place are simply not met here. The Raggedy Ann and Andy use it for the summer, X number of days throughout the summer. That's in the application, but that's not in an ordinance that rezoned the property. And if it is, we couldn't find it. I looked diligently for it because if it's in the ordinance, because when you rezone a piece of property, you do it by ordinance, and the ordinance sets forth those conditions. There's no ordinance that says that this zoning was conditional. It just says it's zone C1. So I was not able to find minutes that reflected that, nor was I able to find anything in the record that reflected the conditional zoning other than the application, and the application itself doesn't control. That's just what the applicant put in the application. So if there is a conditional zoning on the property, it's certainly not in the record.
Okay.
And I prepared I apologize that the council did not receive it, but I prepared a legal opinion. It's in writing, and it explained all of the factors and the rationale for why I concluded what I concluded. But my conclusion is consistent with what the staff determined in the first place.
Okay. Here's where we are. What council has to digest is this, and I apologize, Mr. Marcus, I can't go that way. You don't have to be fully aware that this is no small fight. So I'm going to put this on the executive side of the house. And you all will have to decide how much we're going to go to the river. So let me tell you what I mean by this. I'm going to ask staff tomorrow to put a stop work order on the cell phone tower. What that is going to do is trigger a legion of lawyers. I just want you all to know that. And with that, at the same time, Mr. City Attorney, we can strengthen our ordinances with regards to cell phone towers, particularly since, based on your legal opinion, which I respect and know that you're true on this, I don't want to open Pandora's box, so that if we offer a moratorium, now 6 companies are on top of us because they see that has a weakness, in the market. So with that, council, I want to give you notice to think on, but tomorrow we start that fight, and that's where we are. Any comments, questions?
Yeah, I have one comment. Well,
sir.
Actually, what I want to do is formulate a motion to go ahead and authorize the city attorney to put together an ordinance or whatever is required for you to engage yourself in strengthening the ordinance that we currently have. I believe it's a telecommunication ordinance. So I don't know whether that requires a vote, but I think we should move on that right away. I'm in full support of whatever the mayor decide to do in regards to the cell tower. And as far as a fight to dig into, I'm fine with digging in on this one. So in regards to the vote?
Yeah, you can just direct me to do it, and I'm fine. I don't know if you need an actual formal vote, but you can keep one for the record.
If he needs a formal vote, I'll second that.
So we'll, I make a motion to direct the city attorney to make an ordinance that strengthens our cell tower of deliverance as per today.
Second.
All right. Properly moved in second. Discussion.
And just one quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I heard the city attorney correct, I believe what he's saying is the existing tower at 3610 Evans Mill Road is legally zoned. Can I get clarification for the record, Madam Clerk? Is the tower legally zoned?
No, what I said was that if there is a conditional zoning on the property, it does not appear in the record, so therefore we cannot enforce a conditional zoning on the property.
So what about the residential area? What about the church? What about the school? What about the notification process? Are those things that the community, can the citizens continue to address some of those things that are important to them about the zoning of the tower? Or is this, does it stop right here? Is that what you're saying?
So the tower has been erected, and so I guess if your question is there any legal mechanism by which we can have the tower taken down based on the notion that it was improperly zoned in the first place? The answer is no. I mean, the tower's been erected. I mean, here's the thing: any citizen or the city, if the citizen or the city believes that the tower was improperly erected and should come down, they can certainly pursue that legally. If I'm directed as a city attorney to initiate legal action to have the tower removed, I'll do as I'm instructed. But if you're asking me if that effort's going to be successful, the answer is no.
So, Mr. Mayor, can we move on the original vote, and then we can maybe, if we want to, we can circle back and continue the conversation?
Yes, sir, we can.
In regards to this, cell tower.
And what is the original vote for the record?
Original vote was motion was to instruct the city attorney to strengthen the ordinance with regards to cell phone towers. And it's been properly moved in second, and this is the discussion section of it.
How long will it take to put together an ordinance? Would this be several months, or can we do that quickly?
I could have it for a first read at the next meeting.
Okay.
All right. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 All opposed? All right. Mr. City Attorney, we have a couple of tasks. I want to give my word to council and to our constituents that I will do best efforts to move us in that direction. And I'll be speaking with a couple of three of you afterwards so that we'll know. If even tonight will be a late night, but we'll reconvene tomorrow. And as I said earlier, know the fight that you're getting in. That's all I want to tell folks. Know the fight that you're getting in, and I'm willing to take that fight. All right.
Mr. Mayor, what about the stop work order?
I have to see about it in the morning.
In the morning?
Yes, ma'am. All right. We move to fire prevention. Second read.
This is an ordinance of the City of Stonecrest, Georgia, adopting Chapter 12 entitled Fire Prevention and Protection of the City Code. This ordinance is for the regulation and administration of fire prevention within the city.
All right, council, this is the second read.
Does council have any questions? I'm sorry.
Okay, and we're looking for any comments from council on this second read.
Just one comment. Is this a clone of what we currently have from DeKalb County?
Yes, ma'am, it is similar.
It's similar.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no specific changes in it.
No, ma'am, no specific changes.
So what about the alarm fee, the $25 or $35?
That's in the next ordinance that we will discuss. That's not in this.
So I'm ahead of you there. Okay.
Yes,
Any other comments from council? You're ready for action. We entertain a motion to accept or deny.
I make a motion that we accept the alarm ordinance, the second read.
Second.
Correction. That is fire prevention, that was second read.
Oh, it say alarm on here. Which one?
On number 2.
Oh. I make a motion that we accept the fire prevention second read.
Second.
Been properly moved in second that we accept the fire prevention second read. Ready for the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposers, nay. Motion carries. 4-0. Next item on the agenda, alarms, second read. Madam Attorney?
Yes, this is an ordinance of the City of Stonecrest, Georgia, adopting Chapter 3 entitled Alarm Systems of the City Code. This ordinance is to provide a regulatory measure for an emergency response to alarm systems and to prevent false alarms that would needlessly occupy time of emergency personnel. Does council have questions?
Done? Council? Comments? Questions? I would take it back to a question you asked earlier, and this is, again, a mirror image of what the DeKalb County has.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Within it, I know they were trying to strengthen the laws as it relates to false alarms.
Yes, sir.
Can you touch on some of the basic updates in the DeKalb County's ordinance, for which we are adopting in terms of penalizing false alarm?
Yes, so I believe this will also address Councilwoman Adoma's question. If you look at Section 3-8 entitled False Alarms and Assessments, it actually lists all of the fines and penalties for false alarms after, of course, after the first false alarm. So on the second false alarm, an assessment of a $50 fine, $50 will be assessed. Third false alarm, fine of $100 will be assessed, and so forth. So if you look on page 8 of the ordinance, you will see the list of the fines per offense.
And the question is, once you become a habitual offender, are your rights ever rescinded? You
No,
can
sir, you're
forever
right.
become a habitual offender, get a false alarm weekly, and
Your rights are not rescinded.
okay.
We have in the ordinance, we have assessed a fine up to the 10th false alarm. So hopefully they won't go over 10.
Okay. Thank you.
And that would only be if they dispatch the police, right? Because a lot of times
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just call them and tell them it's me.
Yes, ma'am,
So
that's
if they
correct.
don't dispatch the police, you're not charged.
That is correct.
Any other comments from council? No other questions? Prepared for action? Entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the alarm ordinance, second read.
Have a motion, waiting on a second.
Second.
And probably moved in second that we accept the alarm ordinance, second read. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. All right, we're moving to new business. First up is the purchase of the land at Salem Road and Evans Mill Road intersection. We have had a public deliberation. We've had a work session deliberation, and along with some opportunities to talk internal and external. So, if permission by council, we deem it necessary to purchase the land at Salem Road and Evans Mill Road intersection. And I would like to make the motion that we actually purchase the land at Salem Road and Evans Mill Road intersection in an amount not to exceed $350,000 and or the appropriately appraised value on the municipal law. Properly moved in second. Any discussion? All right. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. All right. 1B to the purchase of the land at Salem Road is for us to have the opportunity for staff to send out and evaluate how and what we want that corner to look like. If gosh, Mr. Jonah had a great picture, but that's fine. So, council, what we'll do is, because there's several things with regards to, two issues that we have here. One is that, first of all, thank you for your approval for the purchase of the land. I think that's outstanding. I've had several indicators with regards to that. One is that possible names, Flat Rock Park, Jesse J. Cunningham Memorial Park, also some possible multi-use center. Is Miss Kelsey here? Is she still here? Yes, ma'am. What did you call it? What? Some type of cultural center, right? Exactly. Another was possible botanical gardens like they had at Wonderland Gardens. So we have time to do and figure out exactly what to put nice there and make it a draw for the city. But at the same time, it was as equally important as Councilman Turner and I find out. The road is a crash trap. I mean, just anything can happen to you coming off that between Salem and Evans Mill. So with that, we're going to look at this from a intersection standpoint with regards to a possible roundabout or a possible street light or caution light or something, in that area. And with council permission, we'll have the appropriate people look at that, send in their estimates, come back to you all and say, this is what we're looking at. Is that okay with everybody?
Mayor, I'm all for accelerating it. But it's also a part of the SPLOS initiative as well. Intersection improvement, lights, sidewalks, and roundabouts, so forth and so on.
Yes, sir.
So I hate to bring that word up again tonight, but we need to really move on getting that SPLOS movement going. So this can be at the top of the list, but I think it's going to be a part of that whole citywide effort to improve streets, sidewalks, intersections, and so forth and so on.
We can certainly put that at the top of the visit, and I want to, of course, follow Mr. City Attorney and make sure we're doing everything that's lawful, as I know you all want to do the same. So we'll make that number one priority. Good deal. Thank you, folks. I want to introduce this person that made this deal happen. Matter of fact, I want you to come up front. I know, man. I know. Okay, he don't want to do that. So I'm gonna shake your hand from here. Okay, he's in the back. Lovely man with his family. Let's give him a round of applause here. All right, Mr. Sean Ali. We're gonna do right by you, Mr. Ali, because you did right by us. And all the man asked was to pretty much, quite frankly, cover his costs. And we give him an opportunity to build somewhere else that was in a more appropriate place. And I thought that's a lot of class, and we appreciate you, Mr. Ali. Thank you very much. All right. You got a deal, my man. You can go home now. No, you can sit and stay. You can stay as long as you want. As a matter of fact, council, we're going to have, I thought I saw Robert Scott here. Oh, yeah. Mr. Scott, Mr. Scott is he's our real estate representative for the City of Stonecrest. You'll get with his representative, and then we'll get the appraisal going, get the whole thing going ASAP. Thank you, Mr. Scott. I appreciate it. Excellent. All right. City clerk appointment. Number 2. I met this lovely young lady. I was very impressed with her. and had a chance to talk to her, had a chance to talk to Mr. Wright, had a chance to talk to some folks that know her, and had an opportunity to talk to Michael Harris at length. And I am very impressed with what I saw. Miss, I've known you for 30 minutes the other day, and how many hours we've been sitting here today. But my impression of you is favorable. And if council will approve it, I'd like to nominate. Need to get the name straight first. Megan. There we go.
Not personally. I mean, I know.
Jimmy took my.
I did. I apologize. Jimmy's having a hard night. I will smile through it.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Megan Ferris Reed as our city clerk. I'd like to nominate her, please. And if I can have a second, we can have a discussion.
I second it.
All right. Properly moved in second. Any questions?
Yes, I have
Council?
one question for Megan.
Sir.
Do you still want the job? Just saying.
All right. All in favor of Ms. Megan Ferris Reed as our city clerk, signal by aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Congratulations, Ms. Reed. Welcome to the Nut House. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Council. All right. The big fun. LMIG resurfacing bids, Mr. Joyner.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Joyner. Mr. Hildebrandt had double duty tonight, and so since he and Mr. Joyner worked on this project together, he asked Ples to present. You heard the presentation from the city engineer at the work session, so this is follow up on that.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks a lot for giving us this opportunity to bring this before you. This is so exciting and so momentous for our city. Looking at our very first project here, very first opportunity to actually show the people that we can do this and handle our business in a very professional way. I first wanted to take a few steps back and be very clear about what our process was and how we got here. Number one, middle of last year, we received a notice from the state of Georgia about the local maintenance improvement grant funds from the Georgia Department of Transportation in the amount of $536,000 and some extra money there. What we had to do is the city had to apply to the Georgia Department of Transportation. In that application, we put in the roads that we wanted to have paved. Using the DeKalb County road rating list that was available to us. So we had the 2017 list, which was the most recent one that we had at the time, and basically ranked the roads from worst to best. And using just literally driving around and going to each road that was on the list, we just started at the very first, very worst roads, picked that one, went to the next road, picked that one. And it took a while to do that because several of the roads had already, since 2017 had been improved over that time. So those were taken off the list, and we just kept going down the list until we basically had a solid group, and the 18 roads that you saw on there. This was our application that was sent in to the Georgia Department of Transportation. This is very, very routine. Every city, basically every jurisdiction that is eligible for this money goes through the exact same process on an annual basis. This will be money that we'll be receiving on an annual basis from the Department of Transportation, as long as that fund is in place. It's been going on for quite some time, and we're just part of the ongoing process there. During our deliberations early this year, as you recall, our issues with potholes and all those other types of issues, a decision was made. We actually had a discussion at a working session about, why don't we take a look at what's going on at Turner Hill Road? We enlisted the aid of, we brought on a vendor by the name of United Consulting, and for about $6,000, they went out here on Turner Hill Road and did core samples of the road, pulling out pieces of the road and actually examining from the very top all the way to the bottom. Their recommendation was that the road was in danger of being a failure. Right now, Turner Hill Road is about to fall apart completely. So their recommendation was immediate work was needed to be done on Turner Hill Road. Now, I understand there's other roads here in Stonecrest that need some attention as well. This was one here, right here in our backyard, something that we could immediately keep an eye on, see what the effects of this were. And their recommendation was something called a full depth reclamation. And I think Ken explained a little bit earlier, but basically, in layman's terms, they're just going to dig up the entire street, redo the base of it, and then put asphalt on top of it and pave it over. So that was basically the second part of our bid. So we had the first 18 roads that were part of the original. We called the Turner Hill Road portion of it the alternate bid, and this is what was sent out to the various companies. Our next item was to put together an invitation to bid. And once again, I think Ken touched on this, but I just want to be very clear that this is something that is broadcast throughout the entire state. The way that we do the bid process, and following Ken's lead, our bid process is, number one, you have to post it to the Georgia Procurement Registry. This is run by the state of Georgia. And basically, any project that you do over $10,000 is supposed to go through the registry for approval. So that was our first stop, was to post it on the Georgia Procurement Registry. The second stop was actually posted on the city's website. And then also, city engineer Hildebrand has a relationship, as he's noted. He's been in this industry for over 30 years. So he had a list of contractors that he wanted us to send the bid directly to make sure that they knew about this process. Upon posting it to Georgia Procurement Registry, over 600 companies are notified about our bid. So as soon as you send that out, 600 companies, actually 611 companies throughout the state of Georgia receive our bid. They get a notice saying the City of Stonecrest is looking for folks to bid on this project. And once again, it's a very normal process when you send out an invitation to bid. Everyone knows that the low bid, as long as you're a reputable company, comes back. We look at all the bids, and then we pick the lowest one. So we sent that out a few weeks after the bid was sent out. We have something called a pre-bid meeting. At that point, all of the companies that are desiring to bid on this project will actually come here to City Hall, sit down with us, ask any questions they want about the bid itself. And we had about 6 or 7 questions that generally came up out of that as well. Also, part of the process is to receive questions via email from all of these companies. Also for companies that cannot make the trip and cannot be here during that particular day. And so we also received about 5 or 6 questions via email to our procurement email address, asking questions. We'd answer those questions as they came in. But then after the pre-bid, there's a period of time where companies can send questions in. After that cutoff date of the questions coming in, then we compile all the questions and we post all of those questions back to the Georgia procurement site. So all the companies, once again, this goes out to 600 companies. So every company, this also gets posted on our website. And that's what you may have seen something in your packet called Addendum Number 1. So this was the minutes from the pre-bid meeting, as well as all of the questions that came in from all of the vendors. And then we have a cutoff date for when the bid packages come in. It's an open meeting, and it is publicized. All of the bid and the associated information is actually posted on in the newspaper as well. I forgot about that. So it has to be in the newspaper for 3 weeks prior to the bid actually coming in. So we had our bid posted in the on Common Ground for 3 weeks leading up to the bid date, and then on the date when the bids are due, generally the companies bring their bids into the city. So we had five companies that actually bid on the project. All 5 of them came here to City Hall, and it's a bit of a ceremony where we open each packet, pull out their bids, read the numbers off of each company's bid. It's public knowledge, and then we go to the next packet and we went through all 5 packets. 5 companies bid on the base bid of the 18 streets, and only 4 of the companies bid on the Turner Hill Road full depth reclamation. And after that meeting, we then compile the information. There's a summary that was also in your packet as well. And this shows what the bids were from each of the companies. Actually, Ken Hildebrand and myself go back, reviewed each of the packets, added up all their numbers again just to make sure that they were correctly put into the system. And then from there, the low bid in each one of the bids is then picked. Okay. So for the in your packet, there's also a letter, a memo from Ken Hildebrand, our city engineer, to the mayor and council, and as well as to myself, dated on March 20th. The city sent out an invitation to bid for 2 projects. The base bid was for the resurfacing of 18 local streets within the city. A bid alternate was requested for the reconstruction of Turner Hill Road. In December 2018, the city submitted an application to the Georgia Department of Transportation for the local maintenance and improvement grant funding. The street list was compiled using the latest DeKalb County pavement condition rating list from 2017. The city was awarded $536,511.28 of LMIG funding for this project. The list of 18 streets that was approved was West Morgan's Bluff Court, Leverett Drive, Aberdeen Way, Browns Mill Lake Court, Winslow Crossing, South Portsmouth Circle, Sherwood Trace, Rockport Lane, Robertson Path, Radford Lane, Phillips Place, Penn Circle, Palm Tree Drive, Lost Dutchman Drive, Hunter's Pace Circle, Hunter's Crossing Ford, Hillendale Drive, and Shirewick Drive. Additionally, the 2-lane portion of Turner Hill Road from Rockland Road to the Bojangles Restaurant driveway is in desperate need of repair. Due to its poor condition, a pavement analysis was required to determine the proper construction method. United Consulting took core samples, and their pavement analysis recommended full depth reclamation for this portion of Turner Hill Road. This process requires that the existing asphalt and base be removed, a reconstructed base will be installed and compacted, and a total of 4.75 inches of asphalt will be laid. For the base bid, 5 bids were received. Stewart Brothers, their bid was in the amount of $2,961,383.62. HEH Paving, their bid was for $1,574,377.17. Atlanta Paving was $1,622,468.82. Blunt Construction was for $1,515,594.10. Pittman Construction was $1,894,136.50. For the Turner Hill Road full depth reclamation, 4 bids were received. Stewart Brothers was $869,595. Atlanta Paving in the amount of $649,140.59. Blunt Construction was $535,125.82. and Pittman Construction was $557,000, $575.75, excuse me. So it is a recommendation of the city engineer that ITB number 2019-005 be awarded to the low bidder, which is Blunt Construction, for both the 18th Street and the Turner Hill Road reconstruction for $1,515,594.10, and the Turner Hill Road reconstruction of $535,125 respectively. The total amount for the 2019 LMIG resurfacing and reconstruction project is $2,005,719.10, with $536,511.28 coming from the city's 2019 LMIG funding, and $1,514,207.82 coming from the city's SPLOST funding. Attached in your documentation that you received today would be the itemized bid summaries and associated supporting documentation, that being the signed LMIG application that was submitted to the Department of Transportation, the 2019 LMIG bid document that was posted to the Georgia Procurement Registry and the city's website, the bid summary that shows all of the bids that came in from each of the companies, addendum number 1, which contains the pre-bid meeting notes from March 11th, questions from email, the LMIG map, and the geotechnical report they received from United Consulting, as well as addendum number 2, which contained additional information for the Turner Hill Road full depth reclamation. And that concludes our report.
Council.
Just a couple of quick questions. Of the 18 roads that were selected, and you just went straight down the list, and I know when those roads were rated based on their condition, it was not recommended that we always go straight down the list based on accessibility to those roads and some other things that might be going on. Was any of that taken into consideration, or we just took the roads as is?
Yes. What we did was we just went straight down the list.
And are you going to
just went from the worst roads once again to the
Since you've submitted this to the state, you said you had to submit it to the state?
Correct. Yes.
Does that lock you in from adjusting any of that?
No, it does not. We do have an opportunity to amend that list if we deem necessary.
Well, do you think it'd be wise to look and see if, just because they're the worst, you might have difficulty getting to them without taking on some additional roads? I know that was explained to us by Mr. Hildebrand at one point in time.
Right. And what Mr. Hildebrand was referring to was what they did in the city of Tucker was they set up something called super sections where they were looking at where the roads were in relation to the streets and those type of things. Unfortunately, we weren't able to have that type of analysis on a flat file that were received from DeKalb County. So that would have taken a little bit more analysis for us to be able to do that, which would have taken a little bit more time. We did have, this was was very time sensitive, where our application had to be received by the state of Georgia by the end of the year.
Yeah, I understand that. It's just a matter of you saying that we can adjust it.
Yes.
And I think some conditions might force an adjustment so you're not locked in from making that adjustment if you run up against that. That's what I wanted to know.
Okay.
So you can adjust it if
Yeah,
you have to.
We can make those adjustments if necessary.
Okay, and the same thing with Turner Hill. I understand some additional work other than road work might impact what you need to do there. Is that true? No?
I'm not exactly sure.
Utility work, something else that has to happen in that area?
This will only be
I'm not saying that we would do it, but I'm saying we will do it eventually. I don't want us to go in and fix a road and have to tear it up doing something else later on.
Oh, correct. So what we've done is this information has been sent to the DeKalb County Transportation Department, And so we do work very closely with them. And so I'll definitely follow up with them and make sure that we're not going to run into that issue.
And how much of the SPLOST funding are we using on this project?
The SPLOST funding was $1,514,207.82. And this memo is buried down in your packet, but it starts on page 104. The packet is 439 pages. Yes, Councilwoman.
Mr. Joyner, so about how much does it cost to pave 1 mile?
About 1 mile is approximately $500,000. Actually, the stretch of Turner Hill Road is approximately a mile. But there is a caveat to that. The caveat is it depends on the condition of the road and how much or what type of paving you're doing. We are doing a full depth reclamation on Turner Hill Road. That is the only road that will be getting that treatment. The other roads will be basically, I believe it's about 3 inches of asphalt is going to be pulled up and then replaced. So in the case of Turner Hill Road, it's going down much deeper than that. It's about a foot down. The base is being redone, and then 4.75 inches of asphalt is being laid on top of that. So it's considerably more. And so we did get a very good competitive bid for that.
One other question. So I know that our splash dollars have been coming in since last April. So I was just wondering, are we able to tap into the splash funds, or do we have to wait until we have a splash management team in place?
The splash funds as you noted, have been coming in since May of last year. The city that's why we're here, to get your approval to tap into our SPLOST funds, actually do our matching funds for the LMIG.
Can we get an update on the total amount in the SPLOST account? If you don't have it tonight, you can email it to the council.
Okay, yeah.
I just thought you might remember that.
Not right off the top of my head.
How soon will they begin work on Turner Hill?
Actually, what the bid itself was, we've requested, our bid document has us releasing the bid and notifying the winning vendor by early April. And we did not give them a time frame for when they were supposed to start. The bid actually asked the vendors to give us a 2-week schedule of when they're going to actually be paving within the subdivisions themselves. The bid also calls for the vendors to be done with all of the paving, that being all of the 18 roads and Turner Hill Road, by the end of August, so August 31st. So we plan by the end of this, when we're by the end of the summer, we will be done with our paving for this particular project. It's okay to clap.
We lulled them down. Council, anything else? Then I will, based on the detail work and everything that I've seen that has happened here, I'll take I'll make a motion to approve the, I don't even know who they are, the lowest bidder with regards to on this program.
You just look for the memo, approve the memorandum. But the name of the company is
Blunt Construction.
It's Blunt Construction.
So do we move for the memo, or do we move for the actual name of the company?
Okay, I can give you the name of the company is Blunt Construction.
Okay.
The amount of the bid was a total of $5,719.10.
2 million.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, there's a little typo in the memo. It's $2,050,719.10. That's two separate bids, one for, as you know, for the 18 residential streets and one for the Turner Hill reconstruction.
2,050,000, and what was the cents?
Totaling $2,050,719.10.
For both?
Yes, sir.
All right, council, I move that we approve for Blunt Construction for the lowest bid of $2,050,719.10 for the reclamation construction of Turner Hill and the regular surfacing of the worst roads. Since there were two separate items.
Second.
Okay.
Can you repeat what we're voting on one more time?
So since there were two separate, I combined the two. There were 5 companies that bidded on what we call worst of first roads, and then 4 companies that bidded on the full reclamation of Turner Hill, which is the 1 foot that Mr. Joyner talked about. So the company that was the lowest bid for both of those was Blunt Construction, and so what I motioned, Councilwoman, was I moved that we award Blunt Construction the total of $2,050,719.10, which covered both the Turner Hill reclamation and the worst of first roads. They were the low bidder on both on both scenarios, and Councilman Clanton second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Mr. Joyner. Very good job. All right. Oh, my. Good clapping. All right. Number 4, ordinance adopted in Chapter 22 of the City Code for solid waste. This is our first read.
Yes, sir. An ordinance of the City of Stonecrest, Georgia, adopting Chapter 22 entitled Solid Waste of the City Code. This is to adopt regulation governing trash pickup and other solid waste matters that substantially mirror DeKalb County's existing regulations. Does council have any questions?
All right. This is for our first read, council. Any questions?
Substantially mirrors. So this is DeKalb County picking up our trash.
Yes, sir, it is.
So it will be DeKalb.
Yes, sir, it will be.
No mirrors involved.
That is correct.
Good one. Good one. Good one, Councilman. Let's go. All right. All right. Any other council? Okay, that shows for our first read. Next is our ordinance adopting Chapter 22.5 of the City Code, stormwater illicit discharge and illegal connection. Our first read.
Yes, sir. An ordinance of the City of Stonecrest, Georgia, adopting Chapter 22.5 entitled Storm, Sewer, Illicit Discharge, and Illegal Connection of the City Code. This is for regulation and preservation of city storm sewer system. This is basically to prevent toxic waste and pollution from going into the storm system. I'm sorry, from the storm sewer, excuse me.
Okay. Council?
When you say prevent it from going into the sewer system, this is just outlining the fines for
Yes, sir.
illegal discharge of anything that should not go down our sewer line. So that's for any residential property and commercial property.
Yes, sir. This is to comply with the requirements of the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. It's a permit process that different residents have to go through.
All right. Okay, we're good. All right, that's our first read. Okay. And the number 6 is the ordinance adopting Chapter 25 of the City Code, water, sewers, and sewage disposal for our first read.
Yes, sir. This is an ordinance of the City of Stonecrest, Georgia, adopting Chapter 25, entitled Water, Sewers, and Sewage Disposal of the Code of the City of Stonecrest, Georgia. And this is basically to provide for water, sewer, and sewage disposal services, to adopt regulations governing water, sewer, and sewage disposal that substantially mirror DeKalb County's existing regulations.
Here we go with the mirrors. Is it the mirrors?
Yes, sir.
All right, council.
First
All right.
read.
First read. Thank you, council. Thank you, Madam Attorney. Number 7, Mr. George Turner. Councilman Turner. Councilman George Turner.
The Transportation Steering Committee resolution, we've been asked to give the position of the council as to where do we stand with the type of transportation we want to see in the city in the future. And there's a resolution that was floated around that did not necessarily involve input from the council or from the cities of, or from the citizens of the city of Stonecrest. So we decided to put together a committee to address it. And we're basically looking at what do we desire to see in terms of public transportation today, tomorrow, 10, 20, or 30 years from now, to actually put into a resolution the desires of the city of Stonecrest. And we put together a committee to do that, and we want to just get it authorized so we can be about the business of making it happen. It'll probably occur within the next 30 days if all goes according to schedule, and it will be brought to this body to approve or do otherwise.
You have those names?
Mr. City Attorney, you have the names before you on the very last page there. Give us the names, please.
The committee.
Yes, sir.
Sir, Councilman George Turner, Councilwoman Diana Doma, Neva Jones Foster, Winston McDonald, Joseph Miller, Johnny Waits, Lyle Harris, and number 8 is city manager or designee.
I don't know any of those people. Yes, I do. Of course I do. All right, that's good. That's a good list. So from here, council, it will be the mayor's appointment. Then I will move for the appointment of the Transportation Steering Committee with such said members. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Councilman Turner, you have the helm for transportation. Number 8, resolution for DeKalb County Board of Elections to perform superintendent duties for the November elections. So do we move this to, we talk about it now, or do we move it to the next meeting with the actual, instead of interim clerk or city clerk, or how do you want to, Ms. Leah, how you want to play it? How would you like that?
That'll probably be good to do it now. She'll be, by the time everything's sent to the DeKalb County, it'll be in progress.
Got it. Okay. Then for the resolution, I'll take any comments, questions.
Just one question, Mr. Mayor. I think the last copy of this had districts 1, 3, and 5 on it, and I think that was probably outdated. I'm just wondering if we corrected it to 2, 4, and the mayor.
Yes.
Or,
Has been changed.
it has been changed. Okay, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, Jim, it is. So did we set the qualifying fees and the qualifying dates?
The fees have been advertised with the news, our legal organ. What I'm waiting for now is the dates, and Miss Mary Weeks, we've been in contact. I've been in contact with her at the Board of Elections. So what she's waiting on is this document, and then sending us Exhibit A for signature, and then everything goes into process.
Okay. I'll take approval for the resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the resolution for DeKalb County Board of Elections to perform superintendent duties for the November 29 election.
All right.
Second.
2019. 2019. Well, I didn't think y'all wanted to run so soon. Okay, 2019.
All right. Properly moved. There's a second.
Second.
And Mr. George Turner. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Madam Interim Clerk, you can send her the resolution. Thank you, ma'am. Number 9, the Steering Committee for Arabia Mountain.
That'll be me.
Councilman George Turner. I have one addition to that, if you don't mind, please, sir.
Okay.
And tell me how to properly handle this. It would be, of course, our Parks Director, Mr. Sean DePalma.
Your privilege. I wanted to use him as a subject matter expert, but being a member of the committee makes him feel that.
So do we need to do something special to call his name with regards to it?
In the motion, just mention his name. Yes.
Got it. Okay. I move that we keep the steering committee intact for Arabia Mountain and add Mr. Sean DePalma as a member of the committee.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any further discussion?
We need to add their duties, the new duties. Do we need to outline that as part of this motion?
Allow me.
Sure. Yes, sir.
We're just adding one duty to the Arabia Mountain Overlay Steering Committee, and that is parks acquisition.
Okay.
Citywide.
Right.
Citywide, correct. All right. Do I need an amendment motion? Okay, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Congratulations, Mr. DePalma. You have more on your plate. All right. The Housing Authority. I saw a presentation along with, I think, Councilman George Turner was there. I know Councilman Clanton was there. And it gave me some serious clarity, which I thought it was good to start with, but the presentation that I saw was just outstanding. And the short of it, Council, is that, and then certainly, Mr. City Attorney, I'll pass to you, is that for years, the stigma of a housing authority had been labeled with Section 8 and low rent and that type of thing. And that is not it at all with regards to what we're looking at here. As a matter of fact, one of the properties that are going up now, had we had an authority in place, we would have probably earned about $100,000. So it is more so a clearinghouse with regards to those projects that are qualified with regards to the city. But I'll pass this to Mr. City Attorney and Madam City Attorney.
So before you now is a resolution to activate the Stonecrest Housing Authority, basically by declaring the need for a housing authority to function in the city of Stonecrest, Georgia, pursuant to the provisions of the Housing Authorities Law, OCGA 831. So this resolution basically creates the Stonecrest Housing Authority should you choose to adopt the resolution.
All right. Council.
You.
Okay, just wondering if we can get a little bit more information. I know this has been a topic off and on, but not consistently. And I was just wondering if we can get more information on how this entity would function and the benefit to Stonecrest, and where does it fit with economic development, and how does it align with the comprehensive plan?
Well, I can answer some of that, if you don't mind, Councilwoman. Particularly in this area where we have an opportunity to set specific senior housing, to set specific areas with regards to where we want to see municipal opportunities. The Housing Authority, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. and Madam City Attorney, acts as a clearinghouse with regards to how those are set. As far as how it relates to our development with regards to economic development, if has anyone noticed the big project that's going over across from the hospital? Oh, that's right. It's in District 2. Monster. And what I mean by that, a great monster. It's 150 units or so of senior housing. They approached us early, as a matter of fact, to be the clearinghouse with regards to that as a housing authority. And we didn't have one in place. So that was the money I was speaking of in with regards to we would have been able to have some income on because they went to the Camp Housing Authority. Camp Housing Authority gets a $110,000 check, and that building goes up in Stonecrest. So we, Councilwoman, act as a clearinghouse with regards to those projects that we want to see in the city of Stonecrest, and likewise for projects that we don't want to see with regards to of those projects that move in this area. So it is a, as some of the folks will say, all money is not good money, but this is good money.
Let me just add, and that is that there is a stigma with the housing authority that they will approve certain ventures just to get small commission, and that could attract some most undesired establishments or buildings. But after listening to the presentation, I realized that it is just that. It's a clearinghouse for the good and the bad. It's dependent on the body that's operating it. And I think this can be used for great progress in our city. Just wanted to add that.
All right, and to further emphasize that council gets to control what comes in. That is the most important thing, and that's a. I don't know a better scenario when you can actually have a determination on yes, no, and I like my money, please. Yeah. So, having said that, I'll take a motion for an approval, if you would, please.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
So, how will this clearinghouse work? I mean, how would council have control over it?
So those projects have to come before us, the same as the body, the same as what they do with regards to the planning commission. And then from there, we do exactly the same process with regards to being able to make a determination if that's something that we, want to have or not. So everybody get the same detail. Everyone gets the same information with regards to, what that project is, its longevity, where will it be, what, is there a zoning difference that needs to happen? It's very detailed.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may, Councilwoman Adoma, in the next resolution, you will see that the mayor and council have the authority to appoint 5 persons to the Board of Commissioners for the Housing Authority. So we can discuss that with the next resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt the resolution to activate the Stonecrest Housing Authority.
All right, properly moved.
Second.
And second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
And next, we have a resolution by the mayor and city of Stonecrest, Georgia, to appoint commissioners to the Stonecrest Housing Authority pursuant to OCGA 8350 of the Housing Authorities Law of the State of Georgia. As I previously reported, the mayor and city council they shall appoint 5 persons to the Board of Commissioners of the authority and shall designate which of the appointees shall serve as the first chairperson of the authority. The council must make the appointment within 30 days of the adoption of this resolution.
So from here, council, I will take a name from each one of you, and you know those people best. as to how you want to, sit on the authority. Madam Attorney, they do have to be residences.
Yes, sir.
Okay, they do have to be a resident, of Stonecrest.
I have a question, I guess, for the term of office, that 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 years, how is that designated in reference to the persons being appointed? You see on page 2?
Oh, yeah, I see it.
So how is that designated?
Yeah, obviously the terms are designated by statute to have them staggered, but I'm not exactly clear on who gets the short stick.
I would say the mayor, District 2 and District 4, the ones that are facing re-election should probably get the short stick.
Well, just coincidentally, you have 5 slots, and they are in numerical order. That is one way.
Reverse numerical.
So say that again, Councilman.
The 5 slots are in numerical order. That's number 1 could be District 1. I know you could do that.
Except for this now. No. Just for clarity. So District 1, in this case, would say, let's go with George's example, appoint an individual this year to serve 1 year. Then next year, District 1 get to appoint an individual to serve how many years? It seemed like it would be 5. I agree. Is that correct? Yeah, I'll go first.
Is that it?
I appoint 2
and you can reappoint the same person unless there's a prohibition
What
to that.
happens to that person if you don't get rid of
So, Mr. City Attorney and Madam City Attorney, by OCG law, it has to be that way?
Yes, staggered terms, yeah.
Oh, it has to be staggered terms.
Yeah.
But
wow. And obviously you don't have to, you have 30 days. So I guess you're not on the tonight.
Oh, hold on 1 second. So actually, the statute says that the mayor shall appoint at least 1 additional commissioner, that's the resident commissioner, who is directly assisted by the authority and shall be appointed for initial and subsequent terms of office of 1 year. So the 6th slot, the mayor appoints the 6th slot.
But that's not necessarily the chairman.
No.
Oh.
It's not, no.
But the mayor do get to appoint the chairman.
One.
I'm fine with the way George put it.
They get together themselves.
Oh, they do it themselves. Okay.
Let me ask that. Who determines the chairman?
Here's determined. They picked it.
Okay, there you go.
And I see no prohibition against reappointing the same person. So if you only get 1 year, then you get another.
Oh, I see now. They get appointed every year? Uh-oh.
Well, there is an appointment every year.
The 1 year.
So every year there will be a new person.
Oh, you better think long and hard about them last 3. Okay. All right. We just really.
Question, can the mayor remove a person at any point in time?
Removal as a whole.
Another process.
Yeah, yes, sir.
They have 5-year appointments?
They'll be there longer than us.
So at this point, I'm in total agreement with Councilman Turner, George Turner. And that would be one quick way to take care of this is to just go by district. 1 would be District 1, District 2, District 3, 4, and 5, and then the mayor would be 6. For the first time around.
Okay. How about you, Councilman?
So then District 1, I guess, then after her term, the next person will have 5 years. Is that correct?
Right.
That's how we're doing it like that?
Right.
Okay. All right, I'll take a motion.
Yes, Mayor. Do we need to get the names in before we approve it? We got 30 days to get it.
We have to make the decision within 30 days after approval.
Okay.
All right. Yes, sir.
May I make a motion? That the resolution by the mayor of the city of Stonecrest, Georgia, to appoint commissioners to the Stonecrest Housing Authority pursuant to OCGA 8-3-50, the Housing Authority Law of the state of Georgia, to provide an effective date and for other lawful purposes, be approved.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Second.
Properly moved in second. Only discussion I have on this, council folks, choose wisely.
Yes.
Choose wisely on this one. This has some real time attached to it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution passes. All right. We didn't have I didn't see a need for executive session. Unless anybody else have one? Okay. All right. Councilwoman Adoma? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Councilwoman. City manager. Or the guy that's sitting there.
That would be me.
Yes.
Out of respect for the hour, I'll just say that the interim city manager I've identified, and we're working through contractual issues, and he'll be on board this week. So the next council meeting, he'll be here and ready to roll. Good applicants for the permanent role, and I've got some more interviews set up for this week, and hope to be able to make a decision shortly. But I wanted you to know, you'll upgrade your city manager seat very soon, and then we'll do better even long term. Any questions about the process?
Good. Mr. M. Adams, City Attorney.
I have no comment tonight, Mayor.
Councilwoman Adoma?
Yes. This Saturday, we're having, as you all know, this is International Women's History Month. So I'll be honoring women who have made contributions to Stonecrest as well as the state of Georgia. It's going to be here at the Marriott Fairfield. And right now, we are at capacity, and our MC will be Kristen Holloway from none other than WSB TV Channel 2. The entertainment will be Miss Wall Street, the famous comedian.
Pass. All right. Dr. Clinton?
No comment.
Nope.
I'd like to announce on Friday, March 29th from 6:30 to 9, we'll have our first Stonecrest Film and Entertainment Committee mixer over at the AEI Startup Factory. And it's going to be some exciting time. We're going to be talking about our vision and the direction we'll be going for the next year. We'll have projects in place for the next 12 months. So we're moving forth. Come over and talk to some industry professionals, see what we're doing in the film industry here in the city of Stonecrest, and see how you can be a part of it and benefit from this great activity that's happening in this city. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Council. I'll be brief. I've been alerted that part of, and I need also signatures before you leave. I've been alerted that one of the subjects that wasn't fully covered in executive session last week, I have to bring to the public, and I'll do that briefly. That subject was for our real estate representative, Mr. Robert Scott. We gave him permission to sign an opportunity to be able to enter into other deals that we're working on with regards to the city of Stonecrest. So by law, we didn't go into in depth in that, so we couldn't claim that as an executive session subject. But the other subject we did cover. So we'll just sign for one subject for that last executive session. Did I say that proper? Okay. Having said that, have a good evening. Thank you.